A very warm good morning to a very fresh Bready Cricket Club in the northwest of Ireland. We are here for Interpro Festival number 2. The Cricket Ireland IP20. We had a fantastic weekend of cricket last weekend with all sorts of unpredictable results, some big hitting, some fantastic bowling, some extraordinary catching, and just the solitary incredible finish as well between the Leinster Lightning and the Northwest Warriors in what was the game of the weekend. Herculean effort from the Bready Cricket Club team here today to get this game going ahead. We had a huge amount of overnight rain. Well, not really overnight rain yesterday, all throughout the day. It's been set fair for a couple of weeks up here in the northwest, but it decided to tip it down yesterday, and the ground staff have played a stormer. It is fresh and cold and windy though, but we have managed to get a toss on time. So let's go out to Andrew Blair-White, who's with the two captains and the match referee. Let's find out what happened.
Good morning and welcome to Bready for Game 7 of the IP20 series between the Northwest Warriors and the Northern Knights. Delighted to be out at the toss this morning with match referee Graham McRae alongside the two captains, Andy McBride of the Northwest Warriors and Harry Tector of the Northern Knights. Graham's got the coin, he's going to flip it, Harry's going to call. Harry, you've elected to bowl this morning, probably a fairly straightforward choice.
Yeah, it was just, I think, early fresh pitch and a little bit of water got on it, so we're not too sure how it's going to play, so it gives us a chance to see the pitch and see what a good score is and then hopefully chase it down.
And 2 wins for you in the second 2 games last weekend, bringing good momentum into this week.
Yeah, definitely, and it's something we're going to look to carry on throughout this weekend.
And any team news?
Yeah, so Graham McCarter's back in for David Delaney, and we've one more players I've forgotten.
Okay, no worries.
Sterlow's back, sorry, of course, yeah. Sterlow's back for Carl Robinson.
Paul Sterling's back in. And Andy, if I could ask you to step forward, batting first, I assume you would have preferred to have bowled, but not too disappointed?
Yeah, obviously we would have bowled first as well, because it's been landing in below covers now probably for the last 36 hours, and we know there's been a bit of water get in, but the groundsmen have done a fantastic job. So obviously we're going to have to assess conditions very quickly here, and obviously try and put a good total on the board to defend the second innings.
And great momentum being brought in after that tight win against the Leinster Lightning. How important was it to get over the line in that sort of a game?
Yeah, obviously we've played a lot of good cricket this year, and obviously the capitalised there last Sunday. That's a great, as you said, momentum going into this weekend. Obviously we took a lot out of last Sunday, took a lot out all last weekend, made a very good result in the first day. Probably weren't at ourselves in the second day, and then to come back strong in the third game and to get that win was very, very good from the lads.
And any team news for yourself?
From last weekend, Ryan Macbeth comes in for Kyle McGee in the last match. Jared Wilson was meant to be in the squad, but he pulled his hamstring during the week, so Ryan comes in and replaces him.
Very good. Thank you very much to Andy, and thank you very much to Harry. The news from the middle this morning is that Harry Tector and the Northern Knights have won the toss and they'll bowl first.
What we're dealing with here, it's buffeting our cameras around, it's buffeting our commentary position around. We're in a marquee. Just the south of the ground, it's cold, it feels a bit more like November than it does June. Not the height of the summer by any stretch. And no real surprise to see Harry Tector decide to have a bowl first. Andrew Leonard here in the commentary position. And for the first time this summer, first time this year in fact, we're going to hear from former Ireland international Peter Gillespie, who's made the very short journey across to us this morning. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Lenny.
How are you, mate?
All good. Cold, but good.
Yeah, cold. It's the kind of day for jackets and beanie hats, really.
And at least it's dry. That's all we can ask for. We'll get a start on time.
Yeah, it's been a huge effort. We've already said it this morning from everyone involved at Bready Cricket Club to get this game to happen. You can see the pitch was certainly looking a good one 2 days ago, and then it's absolutely torn it down with rain on Thursday.
Yeah, I think they can count themselves among one of the more unlucky grounds up in Bready, because every time it seems to get a representative match of some sort, the weather gods don't play ball with them, but it's dry. No surprise to see the Knights bowling. I would say the wicket's probably been under covers for a day or so, so expect conditions to favour a bit of bowling first up.
You're still hugely engaged with the game, both playing, coaching, administratively. You were watching in the streams the last few weeks. What did you think of the first week of the Interpro Festival last week in Pembroke? 6 matches, some really good action. Yeah,
I thought it was a really exciting couple of days cricket. Northwest, obviously, put a Northwest hat on. It was a good weekend for them. Arguably the shock result of the weekend, getting beat to the Munster Reds. They could have quite easily have come out of the weekend with 3 out of 3. But I think it was the first chance to really see the new policy from Cricket Ireland pay dividends, that Leinster 1 from 3, and the other teams really coming up to par and showing that the talent pool's been spread equally.
And there go the Knights, and right in the middle of your camera shot you can see him there, the bearded man back from Middlesex, a short stint over back at the county he spent much of his career at, Paul Sterling. And how much are the home crowd and the home fans here in the north of Ireland going to be looking forward to seeing him back in action?
Yeah, that's a huge addition for the Knights. A player of his quality, international quality, world class quality, to be back in the side, it's going to give them the real firepower up top, which I think they lacked at times last weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares with these conditions.
They looked a wee bit more like a side taking a conventional 50-over approach to 2020 cricket. The approach, however, the Northwest Warriors took must have really excited you.
Yeah, they really stacked the top order with big hitters. It's obviously a new era under Gary Wilson, and they've been given a new brief. They were really sent out there to express themselves, and I think it paid dividends, and it showed the results that came out of the weekend. They chased down the highest total of the weekend, 182 against Leinster, against a very good bowling attack, and I think 2 contrasting approaches, but Paul Sterling coming back and really levels that up today, and it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out.
Yeah, it really will. Just the one change for the Warriors from last weekend as they bat first. The brigade seamer Ryan Macbeth drafted into the Warriors squad. Hardmore all-rounder Jared Wilson has a bit of a hamstring injury. He's going to face at least a couple of weeks on the sidelines. Going to be Graham McCarter with the new ball. He will relish these conditions. It's funny, I was wondering, was he at full fitness last week? And he was saying to me, absolutely he was. He just hadn't played much cricket in the last few weeks, which was the opposite of how he started the season.
Yeah, he'd been to Holland with the senior team and obviously didn't get a lot of action there, probably a lot of netball, etc. But these conditions are really going to suit him today. He's going to get some lateral movement off the deck, possibly some in the air as well.
It's going to be the evergreen William Porterfield, who is not just finding form again, he's finding a real fine touch in the last week or so. A 50 that came in jig time and 100 in the 50 over stuff. Here we go. Porterfield gets off the mark. He's opening the batting with Stephen Dohenny. Porterfield showing that there's plenty of cricket left in him, plenty of life left in him. Last week I interviewed him after his century in the Mardyke. He felt invigorated, enthused, so full of passion for the game still.
Yeah, he seems forever young. I think that's testament to his level of fitness, but also his mental aptitude. He turns up every game, gives 100%, and it's really shown in his performances this year, culminating in that, as you say, that very quick double time 50 that he scored in the big chase against the Lightning in the last game down in Pembroke.
It'll be not the start the Knights would have wanted, winning the toss, deciding to bowl first. That's down the leg side, sloppy from McCarter, sloppy from Rock, who can't collect. Porterfield wants to try and push back for 3, won't get there, but 3 free wides to the total. And what looks like it might be a little bit of a sticky wicket already. That is not the start you want.
No, I think one of the noticeable things last weekend was in this fixture how the Knights, I felt they were a bit lacklustre against the Northwest Warriors. I hope it's not the same today.
It's more like it back on the money from McCarter as we see a little bit of sunshine come across the ground. Market Air picks up. Derry will have a huge task to play this weekend. He looks back in really fit shape, doesn't he?
He does. He's normally very, very accurate. He's kind of bowler that really just doesn't give you anything. You have to go. You almost have to take him on. If you let him bowl to you, he'll tie you up in knots. A
little bit of width, but no timing at all. Right off the toe end of the bat from Dohenny.
I don't think there's going to be any great pace in this wicket, and I think that's really shown in the first couple of balls.
Well, the interesting thing for me, Peter, is going to be, will the Northwest Warriors continue with their all-out attack approach when the conditions certainly aren't going to be it's not going to be a batsman's paradise here today, let's be frank. It doesn't look that way. And Doheny is going to continue that approach, just back of a length, and allowed Doheny to free his arms, takes the aerial route over the head of the captain, Harry Tector, who is, as he's picking that ball up, must be wondering, why did I decide to bowl first if my opening bowler is going to start like this?
Yeah, I think you've answered your question there, Lenny. I hope the Northwest are going to come and continue this positive vein. I think it looks as if it's going to be the front wicket, and that shot from Doheny should show there. Comfortably on the front foot, slapping it back over mid-off, and so Reddy instigated a change in the field.
Yeah, long off is going to go out. That's Ruan Pretorius down in front of our commentary position. Third man will come up into the circle. The other fielder outside. He's out at deep square leg. Going to be hit down over the head of Harry Tector at mid-on and all the way for the first maximum of the festival. Might not be a perfect batting wicket, but Stephen Doheny's going to continue to swing away right from the start. Great positive intent, great mindset from the Warriors. They're off to a flyer.
That's a great shot. He's really judged the length very, very well there. Slightly fuller from Graham, and Stephen has just climbed all over that. Comfortably swung it away past over mid-on. Another maximum. Start off the weekend.
Yeah, first maximum of the weekend, and something that perhaps we didn't see as much of as you would have thought last weekend in Pembroke. What looked like really good batting wickets. Porterfield gets through quickly for the single. Superb start for the Warriors. 15 runs coming from the first over, 15 for none after one. Were you disappointed with the lack of really high individual scores last weekend, Peter?
Yeah, as you say, it was great conditions for batting down in Pembroke. It's the nature of T20. It's a thrill a minute. Guys are going to go out and play shots, and for someone really to go on and get that big score, it does take a big combination of luck and skill. The conditions were there for it last weekend. Slightly disappointed not to see more half centuries, guys pushing on there, but the Northwest set their plan out early last week. Summary analysis that I did show that they scored, out of all the runs they scored, 70% of those came in boundaries. So you're going to live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword.
It is going to be Mark Adair to open the bowling for the Knights. Really is cold and very, very windy. And that wind, to me, you were saying maybe coming from the north, Peter, which is certainly making it that bit fresher, that bit colder.
Seems to be coming across the ground from Donegal, which I'm assuming is why Mark Adair's coming from the Mason Road end. I'd say he's probably going to look to get a bit of movement in the air, the opposite to McCarter, who's going to look to maybe take it off the deck a bit more. But he's certainly on the money there, first ball to Johnny. Certainly not going to make the mistake that McCarter made and putting it up in his half to get it put back over his head.
And what is Harry Tector going to do? He may have to take McCarter out of the attack immediately. More like it from Adair, much better length past the flash of Doheny's blade. Adair didn't get into the side for any of the 3 games against the Netherlands, and he's had lots of starts with the bat, lots of cameos with the ball. Do you think he's just bubbling up towards showing us all what he can really do?
I think he is a fantastically talented cricketer with the ball. It's been a bit stop-start so far, but he's on the money here straight away. He's asking questions of Doheny.
Yeah, he looks to me like a man who's chomping at the bit to get back into the Irish side.
Yeah,
you could see his enthusiasm. And he's a multifaceted cricketer, bat, ball in the field. He's been given this new role for the Knights up at number 5. Do you think that's the right way to go for him? Do you think he's a good enough batsman to be batting there?
I think he is, but obviously it is a learning curve for him. He's going to have to figure out what his game's going to be at 5.
What about his brother Rossa there. A really impactful weekend for him, not just his batting but also his left arm spin. I likened it a little bit to something like Aaron Finch. It does look part-time but quite effective.
Yeah, I mean, he could certainly learn a few tips from his brother in batting. You know, he really attacks the ball. I think the both of them like to attack the ball. And as I say, it's, you know, bits and pieces cricketers, 2020 can sometimes lend at that to guy who can give you an option in all three areas of the field.
Driven over pitch this time and punished by Doherty. We're going to get a test of the outfield, see how fast it is. It's not rapid, but it's quick enough for Doherty to get away for 4 runs. That's the shorter side of the ground through the offside. Not the most pleasing stroke to the eye, but right on top of the bounce, and does get it through the gap.
He really trusted his hands there. I think, as you can see from that stroke, he was quite happy to put his foot up the front of middle stump and just throw his hands at a wide delivery. Almost the shot of a guy who's very comfortable in his game at the moment.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Doherty, of course, who struggled a little in the IP20, lots of starts, lots of 20s. Interestingly, chatting to the Netherlands and their touring party, it was the same coaching group that came across to coach the A side that would have coached the men's senior side, and they felt that of those auditioning for that second opener's role in Oak Hill between Doherty, McCollum and Porterfield, they felt Doherty, even though none of them got any runs really, they felt Doherty was the strongest looking in terms of technique and ability.
Yeah, well, that says a lot from what they seen, and obviously they would have done their analysis. They would have known who they were coming against. He really started off the weekend with a bang last week, and see, we have the change that you spoke about there. McCarter's been given the hook. Pretorius has been asked to see if he can rein this start back in.
Is there anything more frustrating as a captain? You win the toss, it's an absolute no-brainer decision to have a bowl first. Your most consistent bowler in your side doesn't find his lengths. He's hit for 15 off the first over, and immediately any advantage you've got at the toss is almost handed away.
Yeah, as a captain that leads you to days like where we are today, with follically challenged.
I think Harry's got plenty of hair underneath that cap of his there. Lots of years. Such a young captain as well, just 21 years of age.
Yeah, almost learning on the hoof. He's been entrusted with a lot of responsibility. Ireland A, Northern Knights, they obviously feel that he's got the qualities to do the job. 2020 really just challenges you.
Donny gives himself room outside the leg stump, and he's worn it straight into the grill. Almost very nearly went between. We're going to have to see the physio onto the field, I'd imagine. We'll see the concussion protocol test, but you could hear the noise there, straight into the grill, and hopefully it just didn't squeeze between that little space to the visor.
From our position, it almost looked as if he was through the shot. I don't know if it was a case of the ball sticking in the wicket or the ball followed him and cramped him up. He definitely seemed to be there and just missed it. Obviously there's going to be a few running repairs now to...
Yeah, and you can see the umpire there at this end, the near end of the ground. That's Rowley Black, one of the two standing umpires today there with the baseball caps. The reason the baseball caps are on, I don't think the floppy hats would have stayed on, and the physio is making their way out towards Stephen Doherty, as with any contact to the head since the tragedy of Philip Hughes many years ago. The concussion protocol brought into the game, and rightly so. Go through the tests now, make sure he knows exactly what's gone on. It wasn't a blow of great impact, and it was to the front of the helmet, so he should be fine.
Hopefully he should be fine. I think this seems, as you said, more precautionary than anything. Certainly going back to Stephen, he is somebody that seems really in form. He does feel like an heir apparent for Ireland. I think it's been a big opportunity for him moving north, and he's been really got the chance to be thrust into that opener's role. Struggled a bit, as you say, during the 50 over, but the 2020 he seems to have been given that bit more freedom to really go and express himself. It might pay dividends with the 50 over cricket in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely, and you see that quite often. They talk about batsmen hitting their way back into form. How did you deal with that in your career, Peter? Early season, certainly never easy, and you are going to get some good deliveries that are just going to get you out. There's nothing you can do with. How do you go about trusting your game enough to find your form, get back into it?
Well, we played predominantly 50 over cricket, so I was fortunate that my type of game, batting in the middle order, I was more grinding my way back into form than hitting my way back into form. Certainly these days, guys are, with scoring rates even in 50 overs, guys are given more of a license to play their natural game, to trust their instincts. So I think that nowadays, if someone's out of form, it is more accepted that they can go and continue just trying to find it through expressing themselves.
The reason for the continued hold up and play here is Stephen Doheny has had to get a replacement helmet. The physio adjudicating that significant enough damage done by that Pretorius bouncer to require a replacement onto the ground, which the 12th man brings out. Doheny just checks it for size. I think perhaps borrowing a teammate's helmet there. Might need to just adjust the strap. Peter, what do you think?
Nothing worse. You can have 10 pairs of gloves, 4 or 5 bats in your locker, but you only have one helmet. When that goes, it's a scramble to see what's available.
Well, I think there's only one thing worse. Luckily, Stephen is opening the batting, so the helmet that he's borrowing right now won't have been used, but I think for anyone who's ever borrowed a helmet of someone who's already batted, sticking on that sweaty,
I don't think it would matter today that conditions are so cold. It wouldn't matter if he was wearing someone else's helmet that had been previously worn. It's not going to be, you're not going to break too much sweat in a day like this, unless they're a bit of running between the wickets. But the start that these guys have had, they're quite happy to stand and deliver. Boundary seems to be the order of the day once again.
It's the second weekend, back-to-back weekends of the IP20. We really had a wonderful weekend in Pembroke last weekend. The weather was superb, the wickets were good, and we had that one spectacular finish in the 5th of 6 games. Doheny down the track trying to add pace to it. Protection out there. Were you watching on that phenomenal finish? The Warriors just getting over the line.
I was. Fortunate enough, I've been working from home for the last 17 months. Kids are at school, wife's working, so I stick on the stream.
Luckily your boss isn't listening, Peter. Don't worry, it's absolutely fine.
Multitasking's a good option.
Pretorius doesn't offer a great pace, but he does offer good control, and you can see that's why Tector's gone immediately to him. It is something that the Knights' attack does lack, probably with the exception of Adair. Any real pace. Delaney, of course, coming back makes a difference to that, but even he's just bowling off half a dozen, maybe 8 paces at the moment.
Yeah, and quite surprised that the keeper hasn't taken the early decision to maybe come up to the stumps, keep the Northwest batsmen in their crease. I think it shows certainly from Doheny. He's quite comfortable and quite happy to get on the front foot to this pace and look to hit it straight back over their heads. Keeper coming up could be an option, especially with someone like Pretorius that would just cramp you up.
Thuds into the back hip of Porterfield, and not for the first time today we see another batsman through their shot. I think we're going to see a lot of that, even if that was the change up, the slightly slower delivery from Pretorius. Wicket is just certainly a little sticky.
Yeah, I think it's definitely been undercover for the last few days. No doubt that there's going to be a lack of pace, especially in these early games. The bowlers really should be taking full advantage.
That's why Porterfield comes down the track, cloths it a little, but it does beat the gap and work for McCarter to do. He's going to do that with Adair. He'll just get back for 2. Yeah, that innings from Porterfield in that thrilling finish, the 5th of 6 games there in Pembroke, 52 off 23. And the irony was that we were talking about all the big hitters in that Warriors lineup. You're almost not thinking of William Porterfield as a big hitter, but he really did smash it everywhere. It was hugely impressive.
Yeah, 4 4s and 5 6s. Tells its own story. It really, and you needed someone to set that platform. It was the biggest chase of the weekend on a wicket that had been used for 3 days, albeit it was 2020 cricket. That it still deteriorates. He really went out and set the platform for that chase, and it showed that he's not done yet.
I think one of the frustrations that William Porterfield has had over the last 2 seasons, particularly 2019 and then the the COVID blighted year that was 2020 of cricket, he hasn't played an awful lot of T20 cricket. So when he was left out of the Irish T20 side, I think back in mid 2018, he hasn't found a way to get back in because he's barely played any matches. And I think some of that frustration being borne out, he said to me, I think it might have even been on air, that he felt if he didn't get a score against Munster in the 50 over stuff, he was going to be under huge pressure for that South Africa series. That century down at the Mardike has put to bed any questions there, but he's putting his hand up. He wants to go to the T20 World Cup for Ireland. He wants to put his name in the ring.
He does, and it's typical of the man.
Carter's going to change ends, and he's going to maybe pick up a wicket with his very first delivery. He is indeed. It all looked so lackadaisical. The shot, the catch, the delivery, absolutely everything looked to be going through the motions, but it's the first breakthrough. It was just a length delivery, a little bit of shape away, and Doherty could not have picked out long off any easier. What exactly has happened there, Peter Gillespie?
Strange shot. Again, with the boundary he scored in the previous over against the Derry, from that end, he just chose the option of throwing his hands at a wide-ish delivery. Was nowhere near the pitch of the ball to try and get any power to hit straight over the screens, which is assume he was aiming for.
Was he trying to go over long on, perhaps? Maybe just came across it a little?
Yeah, I think possibly. You got to be looking straight down the ground here, especially with this wind, because any ball that hangs in the air is going to carry to that long off fielder. He just didn't seem to time it at all, but as you say, it looked a very lacklustre shot for someone who's come in and been shown his intent from ball one, really.
But it was a bizarre piece of cricket all around. It felt like a bit of a loosener from McCarter, even though he's already bowled and over. Nice shape as he always gets away from the right-hander. It was almost like Donny giving catching practice down to long off, and then no celebration at all from the Knights.
Yeah, strange. As you say, can't work that one out at all. He's been tremendous so far this innings, but that really belied any intent that he'd shown previously, and it brings Nathan Maguire to the crease.
A powerful young hitter, just 18 years of age, who in the course of 7 deliveries turned more than a few heads down in Pembroke. 2 shots coming off the pace of Delaney really whet the appetite of any Irish fans. Some referring to him as a bit of a young Paul Stirling. He won't be on strike. The batsmen have crossed. Doherty gone for 16. Those 2 shots off Delaney really gave you a sense as to just the scale of potential that Nathan Maguire has.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of him, to be honest, Lenny, but I've heard great reports. He played a few early season games for Glendermot, scored a lot of runs up here. He's an exciting prospect.
Cut away and just half a stop from Harry Tector, and it's a good enough stop to mean that Porterfield won't get through for the single. I think Maguire thought there was definitely one there, but Porterfield sent him back.
Yeah, you really see he's having to force the ball. He's having to really put a lot of effort into getting power into his shots here. Again, down to the lack of pace coming off the wicket, the lack of pace of the bowler. Conditions certainly, Lenny, should be favouring the bowlers, but I think the Northwest have made a decent fist at the start here. 24 for 1 off 3. They could double that up to 6. You'd be happy enough.
The difficult thing is they've been given a complete licence by Gary Wilson, and obviously William Porterfield involved in the brains trust the coaching setup of the Northwest Warriors. How do you continue to go at it so hard in such difficult batting conditions?
I think you've got to leave a certain amount of judgment up to the batsmen to analyse conditions when you're out there. You can have a plan A. Do you tinker to plan A, a soft day? Do you go to B? Good change up from McCarter. I think that you still have to leave a certain amount of licence to the guys in the middle, Lenny. You can go out, as I say, you can go out with your plan A. You can go out and say we're going to show intent. We're going to get on the front foot. We're going to look to score boundaries. If conditions aren't there, how can you almost judge that on the fly?
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to be looking at any 180s here.
No, 180, 200 is going to be an absolutely massive total. That's where the experience of Porterfield comes into play. He's played in conditions all the way around the world. Of course, here in his native Northwest, The interesting thing for me is how is Nathan Maguire going to go about it, because he only has one gear, and that's 5th gear, sometimes 6th gear maybe. But my lord, it's so difficult in these conditions. What's going to happen here?
I think that is testament to Gary Wilson. He is going to stick with his game plan. He is going to stick with his big hitters up front. He's going to look to stay in the front foot and keep the Knights almost guessing. He's already forced a change of ends from McCarter. It paid dividends. It got the wicket of Doheny, but you got to admire the approach, Lenny. You got to admire the guys that are going to say, do you know what? This is 2020 cricket. We're going to stamp our brand. We're going to go at it guns blazing and see what happens.
Just watchful to start with from Maguire, back of a length. So 4 overs gone, 25 for 1, and it has the kind of feel, Peter, really, of a sort of 125 to 150 is going to be really competitive. Wasp saying 149 at the moment. I think the Warriors would snatch your hand off for that.
Yeah, it could be. This is the decision now. Do you say we're going to stick with the aggression during the power play, or we're going to go back to slightly more old-fashioned and say wickets in hand, have a real go in the last 6-7? But it was a good comeback over there by McCarter. Only went for 1 run, took the wicket of Doheny. Just slowed the Warriors down slightly.
And a big change of bowling this one, because Ben White, the tournament's leading wicket taker, into the attack. That player of the match effort, 5 for 12, phenomenal. I spent the majority of the weekend calling for him to be capped into Irish colours, get him into the Irish side against South Africa. No bias there at all. Obviously being a leg spinner myself, but he was really, really impressive over the weekend.
He was, and I think he's shown good control for a leg spinner, which is one of the most important facets. I know Shane Warne turned the ball a lot, but he turned it from great control. There's not many in world cricket could have matched the combination he had with control and spin.
Interesting look on the face of Paul Sterling in the background there. Had the look of someone who didn't quite necessarily agree with turning to leg spin on a wicket that is doing all sorts for the seamers inside the power play.
It's a call. It's a big call. Of course it is. But as you say, he's leading wicket taker. He has shown that he has got the control of the ball inside the power play.
Would you not have brought him on after the 6th over, though, and continued with your seamers here, with the ball doing certainly more than enough for them?
Well, I would imagine that the Knights management have done some kind of homework, seen possibly where the Warriors' weaknesses lie. I know conditions favour seam bowling.
Left-hander, right-hander in.
Being
very generous there, Peter.
There's obviously a reason behind the decision. We'll ponder over it. It doesn't look from the outset from us that it's one that we would have made, but we're not tasked with making that decision. We're tasked with
and I suppose Harry Tector
understanding it,
doing the opposite of what some of the other IP20 captains have done, which is not back their spinners. He's saying, he's my number 1 bowler, he's the leading wicket taker, I want to get him into the game early. Nathan Maguire is going to chip it straight to backward point, so the decision works to get Ben White on into the attack. Maybe it was the matchup against Maguire. A good tumbling catch from James McCollum at backward point. It was a flighted leg break, a bit of a giveaway shot from Maguire, and straight to the man at backward point.
Again, it was a wide-ish delivery, slightly similar to Doheny's dismissal. He was happy to waft it through his hands, and nowhere near the middle of the bat. He's absolutely sliced it straight to point, and the Warriors are 2 down, and that is a 2-ball duck for the big hitter.
Not what Nathan Maguire would have wanted. You said it earlier in the commentary, Peter, the Warriors are going to live by the sword, they're going to die by the sword. And even in fairness to Gary Wilson, he said that after the second game where the approach didn't quite work. Said everyone abuzz as they chased down the Northern Knights 135 in just 11.1 overs. That was as dominant a win as we've seen probably in the history of the Interpros, certainly for the Warriors. But the second game, it wasn't for the Warriors. It was a defeat to the Munster Reds. They were in all sorts of trouble. I think 40 odd for 4 at one point. They could only muster 146. But what Gary Wilson said clearly after that game was, that's going to happen with the approach we're going to have, and we're not going to change our mindset.
And in fairness, it was probably one of the reasons why they were able to chase that big total against the Leinster Lightning. You know, they could easily have reverted back into their shell a bit, but this is our new game plan, fresh start, new coach, new vibrant team, led by the elder statesman William Porterfield, and produced a fantastic result, topped the table with a bonus point win. Another exciting prospect now to the crease.
Yeah, Shane Getgate, who's been in fine form, his batting continuing to grow. You have to face up to Ben White. Getgate hits the ball about as hard as anyone in the Irish game.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Shane. I've seen him from a very, very early age. He's been through his troubles. Probably initially started as a bowling all-rounder, definitely now a batting all-rounder.
Bit of a drag down from Ben White, and the power of Getgate. Superb fielding from Harry Tector. He was 5 or 6 yards outside the circle. He wasn't in the circle. So really good anticipation. It's probably as soon as that ball's delivered, I suspect Harry Tector is running backwards there.
That looked for all money, 4 runs. Held it in very, very well. Someone who I'm a big fan of, Getgate, as you say, hits the ball extremely hard, but he works so hard on his game. You can see how he thinks about it, how he gets the absolute maximum ability.
Porterfield hits that straight to Harry Tector. Got a great demonstration of Tector's anticipation. This time, again in the same position in the circle, but immediately knowing that ball wasn't going to go over his head, so makes good ground into the ball, cuts off the single. Down the track, no sense of timing at all. 5 overs gone. It's 27 for 2.
Yeah, a good comeback from those first few overs by the Knights. Really put Northwest back under pressure, put them in their box slightly. And I think, our predictions of how the score's going to pan out, Lenny Wasp going down further, 135. I think that's really where we thought it was going to be. Apart from that first over of McCarter's.
Yeah, it could be some reasonably turgid stuff over the course of the next 3 days. Probably not going to be free scoring, but it's going to be enthralling. Let's talk about the points table. Let's talk about the context of every single one of these games. This is the second of 3 IP20 festivals. So each side will play 9 games. This back-to-back festivals, this one in the Northwest before the third one later in the year, which will be held in the NCU. The Northwest Warriors, they're on top of the table. 9 points for them. A bonus point win over the Northern Knights, combined with thrilling victory over the Leinster Lightning and a loss to the Munster Reds. So we've got a bit of all sorts from the Northwest Warriors. They're on top with 9. The Northern Knights in second place with 8, bouncing back from a really heavy opening defeat. Mark Adair back into the attack. Leinster Lightning, the reigning champions, they're in third on 5 points. Just the one win for them of the weekend, which was a bonus point win over the Reds. And the Reds, they're on bottom, but they did pick up that win and the 4 points against the Warriors. Immediate call from William Porterfield is a very good one, because he was always getting home, and he was adamant enough to get Getgate home as well, through for what is signalled as a leg bye. You couldn't predict any of those results last weekend, Peter, could you?
You couldn't, and I think that's a great thing about the festival style format. Lenny gets 44, gets 44 players, and the squads, management, gets them all together in one venue. Guys can pick up a lot from each other, but obviously with the division of resources by Cricket Ireland, really levels the playing fields, and it showed in some of the results last week. It showed the fact that Munster Reds were able to beat the Warriors, who for all money looked runaway winners of the weekend, kept them in check, kept every other team interested, sets it up nicely.
It's so difficult to find the timing for any batsman. Porterfield opening up, he still can't find his. Peter, the Leinster Lightning, questions to answer after the weekend. I think the first time that they've lost back-to-back Interpro matches, perhaps in many years.
Yeah, it's a position that they haven't been in for a long time, and it's good. It puts their players under a bit of pressure. It takes them out of their comfort zone slightly, and says, what are we going to do?
Pulled by Porterfield. It was a slower ball from Adair, just going to be a single.
I think looking, a quick recap of the stats last week showed that they stuck with their 5 bowlers in all 3 games, which for me was a bit of a gamble. by the Leinster Lightning.
Yeah, and perhaps to add insult to injury to JJ Garth, he's been dropped out of the squad, replaced by Gavin Hoey, his clubmate from Pembroke. Just bowled a 1 over the entire weekend. We spoke about backing the spinners. A real opposite, a beauty from Adair beats Getgate outside the off stump.
Yeah, and I think Garth has been someone who's been talked about for a while. You know, they're keen to get him in, and as you say, to get 1 over and get replaced by clubmates. I'm sure it's been tough to take.
Yeah, JJ Garth dropped out of the team. Gavin Hoey into the team. Gavin, of course, playing a little bit for Trinity as well. Jack Tector recalled. And that recall because the Leinster Lightning bring her 13 up to this festival. Just the quick single, even though McQuarger made good ground, they were always going to get through. Clearly readjusting their sights. Look at Wasp, it's taken a real tumble down to 126. 125 could be a very competitive score on this wicket.
It could be, but I mean, the X factor, the Northwest have to try and factor in, I suppose, is Paul Sterling. You know, what kind of total do you set a team with Paul Sterling in their ranks? You know, 125 on any given day should be nowhere near competitive, but conditions are differing bones.
To the deep, close out the power play. 6 overs gone, 31.
It's been a bit of a rough power play for the Northwest. Started off with them. He's a great lost those quick wickets and really have been reined in. Wasp is telling its own story. Whether that pans, I think we are having to look at something to the 150 to get a chance of the batting line up the Knights do have. How that's going to materialise in here. It's going to take some doing. I think in the field of these conditions, I think it's going to take some doing. Porterfield's certainly hanging in there. Rate of team tells its own story. Struggling for a bit of timing. Some of the shots have been through early, and it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, change of bowling with the power play. So just the 1 over of Ben White in the power play. I think you might have been spot on. I think that might have been a matchup thing. They'll have done their analysis of Nathan Maguire and they'll have said, let's get spin onto him early. He does love the pace coming onto the ball.
He does, and Harry's really marshalling his bowlers very well here, keeping the Northwest guessing.
Pretorius back into the attack. Porterfield gives himself room outside the the leg stump, but hits it into the offside. A really good catch from Harry Tector. That was hit harder than I think he initially expected. He's just clung on. That's the 3rd wicket. The Warriors continue to fall.
That was a great catch from the skipper there. He really charged in the initial hit there by Porterfield. He hit it low and flat, and he had to just take that split second adjustment and coming at pace. And I think that stung the hands on a day like this, Lenny. Porterfield departs for a turgid 8.
He's gone for 8 from 16 deliveries, and that shows just how difficult it's going to be on this wicket. We had a huge amount of rain yesterday, essentially just torrentially rain for 24 hours, and there was a mammoth effort, a call out from the Bready Cricket Club for the club members to get here, and they've managed to tidy the wicket up to get us start on time, which is a miracle really, but it's difficult going to bat on, and the Warriors are in all sorts of trouble. They were cruising, they were 20 for none, and they're now 31 for 3. Look at that. How do you rebuild the innings from here?
That's the question, the $1 million question. I think Shane Getgate's going to have a huge role here now. Him and Andy McBride, I know William McClintock's come to the wicket, but I think these elder heads of the team are really going to have to say someone's going to have to anchor this and go deep into the 20 overs, get a score. I don't think you're going to see much above a run of ball today.
Gary Wilson not changing his approach. I wondered would they maybe hold William McClintock back. It feels like a good opportunity for Andy McBride to come to the crease, get the left hand right hand combination going, but Wilson stubborn as a mule. He's going to keep his formula, which is the power hitters right at the top. So McClintock in at number 5.
Bready Cricket Club up in the Northwest.
Literally the world of talent in his shoulders.
He's certainly not going to change his approach. Very, very much stand and deliver type batsman. He's going to take the game if he gets the opportunity. If the ball's up in his half, he's going to get the opportunity.
It's a bit of a blustery day up in Bready here.
Take the game
nice,
to
get a bit of
the Knights, and you can see straight away it's resulted in the keeper coming up to the stumps. Pretorius has dragged his length back slightly there, that first ball. And again, back of a length, really not going to give anything up to hit.
Peter, you obviously play here domestically in the same union. Just how much talent does William McClintock have?
He's a fantastic talent. He is a fantastic talent. Him and Gary both coming up through the ranks at Dunnamana from an early age. You could see the fantastic eye, all-round cricketers. They can bowl, they can field, and most certainly when it comes to batting, they take the one-way approach.
Look at that for a shot over the offside. You talk about talent. That is talent in a nutshell. What a shot. It's flown all the way for 6. He's known as a hitter through the leg side, but like we saw on Stormont with that magnificent 50 in the IP20, he actually loves hitting it through extra cover. Over pitch from Pretorius. The shot of the day. It could well be the shot of the festival.
That's a fantastic shot. Pretorius really changed up his length from the first 2 balls where he held it back off him. And the first ball he pitches up, McClintock just climbs all over it. He's had a flat 6 that's absolutely screamed over the boundary.
And he absolutely cannons that one into the offside. I think it thuds into the knee of Graham McCarter. Not what you want. 7 overs gone, 37 for 3. We're going to have a change in the commentary box. I'm going to really thank Peter Gillespie for today. So looking forward to hearing his thoughts all throughout the weekend. A legend of the Irish game. He'll be replaced by Andrew Blair White. Andrew, fascinating start. Looked like a flyer for the Warriors and the 3 wickets, and it doesn't look like it's going to be easy batting throughout this weekend.
No, I suspect not. Pitch looks a little bit slow, but the way William McClintock's just tonked that ball over extra cover would indicate that it might be one of these pitches that gets better throughout the weekend. I suspect in this game, though, the Northwest Warriors have just got to try and get themselves up to a score that's potentially defendable, even around that 120, 130 mark. I think would get them in the game, and that's surely what they're going to have to reassess and try to get to.
Yeah, and interestingly, Harry Tector is going to go to himself. See his off spin again. I wonder, is this something to do with the matchups, not the part-time off spin of Paul Sterling, which we felt might be used at some points today, but real surprise to see Harry Tector go to himself in just the 8th over.
Yes, potentially so, but Paul Sterling does seem to be an extremely reluctant bowler, even though his bowling, as we've seen in international cricket and on the county circuit more prominently, has been so useful in T20 cricket, but Tector probably trying to get an over or 2 of himself in.
Getgate looks to start with the reverse sweep. Big appeal from Harry Tector. Nothing really from Neil Rock behind the stumps. Always look at where the keeper's going. I think the keeper was probably sailing down the leg side. Let's take a look. Remember, he's got to make it pitch in line from around the wicket, which is difficult.
Yeah, potentially a little high.
Getgate hits that one down the ground. Is it going to dissect the fielders? It will, but it'll just be a single.
I think it's probably the percentage play from Tector coming on from this end, because the shot straight is well and truly into the wind. That is more prominent than probably you're picking up on the screen. So if he is to be brought on, it is a hard straight hit in comparison to obviously the other end.
And turn on offer. Watched by McClintock. Direct hit could well have been close. Good work flying from Pretorius at backward point. Surprised to see David Delaney out of the starting 11 today?
Yeah, I am a little bit, but he struggled for rhythm last weekend in Pembroke, and Graham McCarter back available, and obviously Paul Sterling back available as well, meant that there was always going to be selection queries for the Knights, and Davis unfortunately missed out, which is a bit of a shame, I must confess.
But I suppose what it does mean, if you think of Adair, Pretorius, McCarter and White as your 4 bankers to bowl 4 overs, that means you're going to have to get your final 4 overs from the combination of the left arm spin of Ross Adair, Harry Tector is bowling his off breaks, and maybe Paul Sterling.
Potentially, or maybe even Luke Georgeson. We've seen him involved as well. At the death overs especially, he might have a few overs up his sleeve. But, you know, Tector will be very happy with his work here. if he can just get out of this over, as I say, if he can almost burgle a couple of overs in this middle section of the game without too much damage, he'll be more than happy with that.
Well picked up. What a shot that is. That is an extraordinary stroke from William McClintock. I can't quite believe he's got that away for 4. It wasn't that short. Just a pick up, really. And another demonstration of the power. The ping off the bat there. Incredible.
Yeah, the timing that McClintock possesses is absolutely unbelievable. Jeremy Lawler, it was a attempt in vain on the deep square leg boundary to try and hold that one in. But McClintock, he just picks the ball up so cleanly. And certainly in his early start to this innings, he looks like he's been batting on a pitch that the others haven't been batting on, because he's timing the ball absolutely excellently.
Yeah, bludgeoned into the deep. Brilliant from McClintock. And that's exactly what you need to do to the part-time off-breaks of Tector. Get at him. Just a slight change for the Knights. 12th man John Matchett is onto the field. Ruhan Pretorius is nipped off. It looks like he's just getting some strapping adjusted, so should be just an over that we see Matchett for. But Ben White is going to come back into the attack. The changes are really being run by Harry Tector here. I think there's been a bowling change every single over so far.
Yeah, I think so, but it's keeping things fresh, and he'll be happy with where the Knights are. Ben White, this could be a very crucial part of the game, Ben White's spell here.
It might not be a spell if the things continue the way they are. I think it's been 8 bowlers, but 8 individual bowling changes, 7 changes, delivering the 8 different overs so far. Ben White's leg spin imperious at Pembroke last week. Lots of calls for him to get into the Irish setup. I had one amusing text which I'm going to tell you about as well. Swept away. That's a glorious shot from Shane Getgate. Gets it behind square on the leg side. That's the key to that stroke.
Yeah, beautiful shot from Getgate. The placement key here, but it's always a premeditated shot, kind of behind square off the sweep, but he's gone ahead of the front pad there and swept away very powerfully. Very clean strike of the ball himself, Shane Getgate.
Through the offside this time, just going to be a single. Yeah, that text I received was cap him and cap him now before he ends up playing for New Zealand, and of course that was in reference to the fact that White does have some Kiwi connections. His father of New Zealand origin, but I don't think we're in any danger of losing him to Down Under.
Yeah, you'd certainly hope not, but it's been brilliant to see him blossoming this year. Obviously, it looked like his career might be slipping away down in Leinster. For him to have come up to the Northern Knights, a big move, a real sign of the franchise we're going for here, and it's been a coming of age move for him this season.
Look at the sharp turn. Bowled into the wicket, a little bit of tennis ball bounce almost, and I think that delivery there is going to be the demonstration of what you need to do as a bowler, whether it's as a spinner or as a seamer. If you bowl it into the wicket, it's going to be very difficult for the batsman at time.
Yeah, I think you're bang on, Lenny, with that assessment, and I'd suspect later on in this innings we'll see Mark Adair come back into the attack in the latter overs, and we might well see what we've become accustomed to, those slower balls into the pitch, and we're seeing good grip, which is, I'm sure plenty of spinners across the 4 teams will be delighted to see that happening in the first game. There's about 6 more games to come.
Another sweep shot from Getgate. I just wonder that Leinster Lightning will be on the team bus on the way up. No doubt they're watching the stream. Do you think Josh Little, Barry McCarthy, these sorts of guys, David O'Halloran, will be watching this and learning from it, working out the best way to bowl this afternoon? Their game against the Reds will be the 4 o'clock game.
McClintock pummels that one down to long on for a single, but yeah, I would assume that's, they're always going to have to try and take learnings out of it. We know with Josh Little especially how well he's become with his slower balls. I know Davey O'Halloran's doing an awful lot of work on it himself.
Media call it 2, and they will get back because the throws aren't. Not a good throw in the deep from Lawler. It's between the 2 fielders in the deep. He kicks the turf in frustration, Lawler. And you'd have to think with a good flat throw over the top, there could have been a chance of a run out there.
It's been good though from Getcate and McClintock, adding a little bit of impetus back into this Northwest innings. Just trying to tick over for now and keep wickets in hand, and obviously then with 5-6 overs to go, you can see where you are and potentially push on to that 130-140 score.
Nicely steered behind a point on the offside. Good call from McClintock. Will get him through for the single. And Tector, the first bowler to bowl 2 consecutive overs in this innings. Maybe some captains often accused of underbowling themselves. Tector's not going to find himself guilty of that. And the off spinner. Slower through the air this time, and William McClintock has hit it nearly over the head of Jeremy Lawler, who pulls off a spectacular stop. It hung in the air for what seemed like an eternity, but really good work, good judgment from Lawler. He was never going to be able to take the catch without carrying himself over the rope, which would have gone for 6, but a really good effort in the deep, and saves the 6. And in fact they only get through for single, 5 runs off the total.
Yeah, seriously good work from Jeremy Lawler, and those moments can change games. Just keeping that away.
Getgate goes over the offside this time. They're going to really hammer and tongs it against Harry Tector. An expensive over in the context of what could be a low scoring wicket this weekend. 10 runs coming from it. Really good stuff from the Warriors. Good fight back from them, and a good shot this from Getgate.
Yeah, good from Getcate. A little bit off the thick edge, but he was trying to access over the offside there. And as you say, bringing them up to 59 for 3 at the halfway stage. They won't be too disappointed with that, with where they were 4 or 5 overs ago. As you can see from your scorecard there, Getcate and McClintock getting back into it. And I think it's going to be a case of just trying to adapt the best. Whichever side can adapt the best in these conditions will go on to win the game.
Expensive 2 overs from Harry Tector. Will we see Paul Sterling or Luke Georgeson perhaps? It's a nice flighted leg break. Really good example there, the drift that White gets into the right-handers. He gets really good action, good revs on his leg breaks.
He does, and he's showing good courage as well, continuing to toss the ball up to McClintock, trying to invite that big shot.
That is smeared through the offside by Shane Getgate. They say as a leg spinner you'd rather be full than short, but too full this time, and the power that Getgate has is really only half a hit through the offside for him, and it races away along the outfield for 4 runs.
Yeah, good timing more than anything from Shane Getcate and finding that gap. Most importantly, he moves on to 21. It's been a good little knock this so far.
Slightly over-pitched again from White, just erring on the full side. Perhaps difficult as well, that wind really seems to be swirling. I'm not sure you can quite see it on your cameras at home, but it's coming into play in a big way.
Yeah, well, I'd say this is the most unideal conditions for leg spin bowling, really.
That's a glorious shot from William McClintock. He hasn't tried to overhit that at all. He's held his shape beautifully. Just a chip over the offside, and this is a really, really good partnership for the Warriors.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot from McClintock. No more than a half hit for him, really. But again, beating that extra cover man and flying away for 4.
And he's going to repeat the dose. Mark Adair's going to have work to do at long off, and he does it really well. He cuts off the boundary right in front of our fielding position. I think Adair had just hung a little square after the previous delivery, and that's what has ended up saving the Knights 2 runs. This is good batting from McClintock, good batting from Getgate, taking the game to Ben White. Through the leg side this time, brilliant batting. Is this the winning of the game? This partnership between Getgate and McClintock, is the game getting away from the Knights here?
Yeah, well, this is a real momentum changer. They've had a go at Ben White there. They've really put the onus back on the young leg spinner. And it's just brilliant batting from McClintock. We've seen him access over extra cover. White then corrects himself, goes a little bit straighter. He gets on the sweep, another boundary.
You're a very brave car owner if you're parking your car on the bank there with William McClintock and Shane Getgate the way they're going. Could I question the tactics from the Knights? It's a wicket that seems to be seaming all over the place. Looks like an absolute fast or medium pacer's paradise. And they bowled the last 4 overs all spin.
Yeah, very interesting tactic indeed, especially when you have somebody like Luke Georgeson who you know could bowl 3 or 4 overs. And I think on this sort of pitch we saw with Graham MacArthur in his second over, Mark Adair in his couple of overs, even Ruin Pretorius, how hard it is. It's interesting, Harry Tector now having to bring Mark Adair on. I suspect he wouldn't wanted to have bowled him his 3rd over in the 12th, but that's how the game's getting away from them.
Yeah, those keen viewers who were watching every delivery with us last weekend will notice Mark Adair has had a visit to the barber shop during the week. Quick single, talk us through that cut. Andrew, you're much more stylish than I am.
Yeah, well, it seems to be the short back and sides look for Mark Adair. I wouldn't say I'm much more stylish with my hair, to be honest.
So what did he say going into the barbers there? What was the description? I haven't been to a barber's in 15-20 years, I wouldn't know.
Well, it'd be interesting if we got a close up. He might have gone for a skin fade, I think.
A skin fade, is that what the kids call it?
Is what they call it, where you're very, very short and then it just kind of fades out. And then he hasn't got much off the top. Let's just put it that way.
The skin fade, I've heard it all now. Absolutely no idea what that is, but no doubt it looks good on Mark Adair. That one thuds into the pad of William McClintock. You can see immediately lots of change-ups, lots of changes of pace from Adair. I think as I said before, if you bowl it into the wicket on this pitch, it's going to be almost impossible for the batsmen to find their timing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we saw again with that one from Adair, it's actually gripped and even turned a little bit, and when your slower ball is starting to do that, it causes big problems for batters. It'll be interesting to see how Getgate approaches it.
I think even though there's been 3 consecutive singles, 2 of them being leg buys, 3 of them being leg buys, I thought that one came off the bat. 3 dots in Adair's mind, no runs against his bowling figures, but you've immediately seen in this over why the seamers are so much more difficult to get away than the spinners.
Yeah, exactly, and it would surprise me greatly if we weren't to see a Ruin Pretorius come back, or maybe a Luke Georgeson come into the attack next over as well. Get seamers back on.
What a shot that is. It's nearly carried all the way to the man at deep square leg. I think it was the slower ball bouncer, but McClintock's picked it up so cleanly. I don't think there's many more exciting batsmen going around Irish cricket than William McClintock. A big man, as Alan Lewis said last week, reminiscent perhaps of Decker Curry. He's got huge shoulders, doesn't he?
He does, and he hits a remarkably clean ball, William McClintock, from not even seemingly a full swing at times as well. But his timing has been well and truly on show so far today.
Down the track, another change-up, another mistimed shot. What the Warriors have done really well in this over, they haven't really got near Adair, but they've got 5 off 5.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's actually been very clever batting. I know 3 of them have been leg buys, but it's even clever batting to just sneak through for singles in those situations. And with Mark Adair probably being the premier seam bowler for the Northern Knights and being very good in these sort of conditions, taking 6 off and over in the 12th you'd be more than happy with, and potentially target some of the other bowlers.
Goes for the Yorker, good execution of skills and well dug out. Really good over, well bowled by Mark Adair, but good batting as well. 6 runs coming from it. The partnership is 50, and it's a fantastic one. It's rescued the Warriors from 31 for 3. That partnership coming from just 35 deliveries. Well batted Shane Getgate, well batted William McClintock.
Yeah, it's been a really good partnership. They've taken the counter-attacking option, but also have batted sensibly. There has been very little risk to the shots they're playing here. And as I suspected and as I mentioned in the previous over, we are going to see Ruin Pretorius come back into the attack, and the Knights are going to want to try and squeeze in the next few overs and try to build back some sort of pressure.
Pretorius was just off for that solitary over. I think it was some strapping, and now we see Paul Sterling nip off for just an over. John Matchett back onto the pitch. I think Sterling's just a comfort break. It's a lovely shot backward, a point by McClintock. Going to be work to do in the deep for Lawler. He will cut it off and it'll just get back for 2. Remarkable the way he's batted on this wicket, McClintock. Nobody seems to have timed the ball as well as him so far.
Yes, that is correct, but he's got great experience playing up here in club cricket. He knows these sort of pitches very well.
Nudging down the ground, no timing at all, so it won't carry to mark Adair. Someone like Willie McClintock, who was so impressive for the Irish under-19s, do you think he could be a bolter for a T20 World Cup squad? Could he put his name in the hat with a big summer?
Yeah, potentially so. I think this is where these IP20 festivals are brilliant at giving the opportunity. And if William McClintock was to have a brilliant weekend here and potentially win a few games for the Northwest Warriors, he has to become part of that name.
I wouldn't envy Andrew White's job as the chair of selectors. About 50 players in the mix, thereabouts. 12 or 13 man squads throughout this weekend. Obviously some of those players not qualified for Ireland, but certainly not an easy squad to select, just like we saw so much speculation about the squad for the Netherlands. You'd have to think Shane Getgate, particularly in the T20 format, definitely right there in the mix as well.
Yeah, of course, there's, as you say, Andrew, there's plenty of options, and I think you're really trying to get people to put their hand up in these sort of games and not just play, nice little innings, but play completely match-winning innings, and that's what these two are potentially doing. They've completely changed the complexion of this game.
Yeah, when it was 30 for 3, even though the Warriors have this new mindset, this new approach, you just felt like the game was slipping away from them. It was all one-way traffic, but it's been a great counter-attacking partnership from McClintock. And look at McClintock. He's smeared that one over the leg side. It's the shorter side of the ground. It's just a pick-up, it's no more. He's known for his power here in the Northwest. We haven't heard the car horns blaring just yet, but we will in due course. Sensational batting from William McClintock.
Yeah, that's just a pick-up off a length from McClintock. He was in the slot from Pretorius, but it's an unbelievable shot. And he's just looking like he's playing on a completely different surface here. 35 off 23 deliveries. He's timing the ball superbly. Northwest Warriors on to 91 for 3. As you said, Andrew, when they were 30 for 3, you thought it might be a struggle to get up to 100, 110. Now it's whether they can get up to 150, 160 from here.
And all of that momentum that the Knights had, I think, disappeared when they turned to spin. I think it was the wrong option. I thought they should have stuck with their seamers, stuck with McCarter. As you said, Georgeson not even bowled yet. And all of a sudden a Wasp that was going to limp up to 120 at best is now looking at 150. Surely from here the Warriors are thinking north of 150. If these two can keep going particularly. Get down towards long on. Harry Tector's going to have to make a lot of ground in. He's not going to get there. It was bowled into the pitch. That seems to be the delivery that's causing by far the most difficulty for the batsman. McClintock will keep the strike. 13 overs gone. 92 for 3.
Yeah, we've seen now on plenty of occasions that ball into the pitch seemingly a lot more harder to get away. The slightly floatier kind of slot ball seems to be the one that has disappeared so far. But as you say, I think you're bang on the money there. When they went to Harry Tector, when he brought himself on, kind of almost to try and just sneak a few overs in, it wasn't a wicket taking option, and potentially as a result the Northwest Warriors have gotten away a little bit from the Knights.
We're not going to see Luke Georgeson, which again I think is a little surprising for me. Haven't seen Ross Adair yet with his left arm spin either. Remember, he was the player of the match as the Knights bounced back after their opening day defeat in Pembroke by beating the Leinster Lightning by 22 runs. Graham McCarter's going to come back. And William McClintock's going to come down the track and try to continue the aggressive approach. That's Adair there. Surprised not to see his left arm spin either.
Potentially, but it was probably a toss-up between Tector bowling a few overs or Adair bowling a few overs. I think probably what we haven't seen Georgeson yet is he might come on right at the death for maybe an over or two. Graham McCarter potentially won't be used at the death. He might bowl overs 14 and 16, maybe Georgeson into the attack 17 and 19, because they do have to find 2 overs from somewhere.
watch by Getgate into the offside. Yeah, let's take a look at those bowling figures, because plenty of options, and we've only seen the 5 bowlers used. No Paul Stirling yet, no Luke Georgeson yet, but Tector's only bowled 2, so surely this was the time to go to Georgeson now.
Potentially, but it's all about situations, and I know Luke Georgeson has worked an awful lot on his death bowling, and he's been used at the death for the Knights all year so far, so maybe that's the reasoning.
That is absolutely smashed. That's the bigger side of the ground. The car horns are blaring now. He's a bit of a local hero, William McClintock. That one nearly smashed out of the ground. A mighty hit from William McClintock. He's making batting on a very difficult wicket look very easy indeed right now.
And he's brought up the Northwest Warriors 100 in the process, and I'm sure those people beeping their horns are just glad he's hit it that side rather than towards the cars, because that could have been plenty of people in danger. He's absolutely whacked it.
100 comes up in the 14th over. What a partnership worth 69 now. Looks to repeat the dose, but well bowled by McCarter, just back in length a little, and again that slightly uneven, slightly tennis ball bounce that you can get. McClintock goes down and pats down where that ball's pitched.
Yeah, good return here from McCarter. Just slightly slower delivery there, and as you could see, very, very tennis ball bounce. It's kind of hops through to Neil Rock.
Down the track, he uses his feet. There is protection out there. The 3 men on the leg side. The 4th, Paul Stirling, at fine leg. The 3 in the deep are all 3 on the leg side are all in the deep. 2 men in the deep in the offside. That's long off and extra cover. Carter has been a little expensive today. It was a disappointing opening over to the match, particularly from him.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit of a lethargic first over from everyone, really.
Finish to the over, but what a shot from Shane Getgate. That wasn't a bad delivery. It was a good delivery. Ben White's ended up losing his pants trying to cut it off with the dive. Might not see the replay of that one. I'm not sure we want to see it, or maybe some people do. Talk us through this dive from Ben White. What ends up happening here, Andrew?
Yeah, well, he's gone full length, and unfortunately the trunks have come down as a result. I think he's got the skins on underneath.
He's forgot to tie the breeches this morning, I think, is he?
Potentially so, but another great shot from Shane Getgate. Another great finish to an over for the Northwest Warriors. 105 for 3 or 14. They're really, really accelerating here. And just off your camera at the moment, we're finally going to see Luke Georgeson come into the attack. Something we've been probably discussing for the last 6 or 7 overs.
Is it too late, Andrew? Is the game gone?
Well, they're going to have to try and salvage something here, the Knights. It's much different chasing 160 and 145. So that's the momentum that they're going to have to try and strive for. They're going to have to take a bit of solace from the way these two have batted on the surface as well.
Yeah, and of course they do have Paul Stirling as well. Quick quiz for you, Andrew. How many T20 Interpro matches in Ireland has Paul Stirling played? We'll put you right on the spot.
I doubt it's been too many. Would this be his 3rd or 4th?
He's only played 1 up to today, so for the 2nd time in the history of the T20 Interpros, we will see Paul Stirling with the bat, and that's how exciting he is in the T20 format. An awful lot of his career obviously spent over at Middlesex, and then last season he was over with Northants at the T20 Blast. But he's back in the Knights colours, back in the north of Ireland here. You'd have to think if the Knights are going to chase this down on what looks like a very tricky wicket to bat on, he's going to have a big role to play. Slightly different to Lords that he was playing at last week. For Stirling, Georgeson into the attack from the pavilion end. McClintock heaves that into the sky. Could be a chance for Harry Tector. He can't cling on. That's 50. That is one of the innings of the season. We saw one of the best knocks of the year from William McClintock across in Stormont in the 50 over version. This one's even better. It's come off 29 deliveries. It shows the scale of potential that this man has. The Donnamana man, brilliant from William McClintock.
Yeah, super innings, and he's brought it up with even only a half chip down to long on for his 4th 6. Putting the pressure already on Georgeson after 1 delivery.
Looks for the wide Yorker. What a shot that is. The car horns are beeping already. I don't think it's going to run away for 4. I'll have to have a word with that driver. Real tradition here in the Northwest, not just here at the Bready ground. They come in, They sit in their cars up on the bank overlooking the ground. Very famous up at Donamana as well. And when the sixes start going, the car horns start blaring.
Yeah, it was a bit premature that time round, but another good shot from McClintock, adjusting to get that one backward a point for 2. And just that ball striking. If Luke Georgeson puts one up in the slot here, I suspect it's only going one way.
Hit through the offside this time again. A good demonstration the Perry possesses. And we'll get back for 2. There's a big differential between the size of the boundary on the two sides. The leg side of the ground probably only about a 45-50 yard hit today. It's quite short, whereas the offside, it's really a long way out there. Always time to get back for 2.
Yes, exactly, and he's hit it over extra cover as well, so deep cover had a bit of work to do, but wouldn't surprise me at all to see McClintock trying to set himself up to hit towards that wide long on area.
He's going to come around the wicket now, changes it up, Georgeson. Inside edge onto the stumps, and it works. Yet another batsman gets to 50 and gets out, but what a knock it's been. William McClintock, 54 from 32 deliveries. He's become the leading run scorer in the tournament this year as well with that knock. But I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the batsmen this year. It seems every time they get to 50 in the T20 they get out, and it's happened again. But what a knock, fantastic. He thuds the pad in frustration. 4 sixes, 3 fours, outstanding from William McClintock.
Yeah, super innings from McClintock, coming in at a difficult time. The Northwest Warriors were wobbling at 30 for 3, and it's been very well respected. The car horns going again in appreciation for McClintock's innings of rousing reception for him, and rightly so, because it's been an absolutely super innings.
There's some cricketers, one of them on his haunches in the background, that you would quite simply pay money to watch play anywhere in the world. And William McClintock for me is one of them. He's exciting, he's dynamic, he does things that other batsmen can't do, hits the ball into strange places, has huge power, great timing, and he's got great skill as well. He's not just a bludgeoner, but brilliant from the Warriors and brilliant from Gary Wilson. He didn't change his approach. It would have been the easiest thing in the world to send Andy McBride in at number 5. They were all over the place. They were 30 for 3, but they said no, it doesn't matter what the wicket is, it doesn't matter what the game situation, we're going to continue to back our men. They sent McClintock in. He's changed the game, changed the course of the game over 8 or 9 overs. I wonder, is that a match winning knock?
Yeah, potentially could be. And as you say, it would have been very easy. The likes of Andy McBride, Graham Kennedy potentially might have, in old school thought, suited the situation better. But that's just new age thinking from Gary Wilson and from the Northwest Warriors, and that's why they've become such a good team to watch this year. They've been really excellent, and it's good to see that the locals in have really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, the change to Georgeson has worked. It's cost him 10 runs, but he's bought the wicket of McClintock. He's going to stay around the wicket to the left hand of McBride. He'll get off the mark immediately. The key for the Warriors now is they can't afford to lose that momentum, and the good thing for them is that Getgate will continue. Can they get up to 150, maybe even 160 as Wasp is indicating? That would be a really good score.
Yeah, you'd have to think that's the aim, is to try and get up to that 155 sort of score. Shane Getgate possesses such power himself. He's had to resort to playing a second fiddle role, and a very good one at that, but he'll now, an awful lot of this Warriors innings will rest on him.
And I was just about to say, I wonder will Georgeson have to pull out here, because Getgate was in no way ready. Rowley Black was ready.
I thought you were chancing your arm there.
Mark Adair shades on from long on. I thought you were chancing your arm. I thought exactly the same. Georgeson wasn't cheeky enough to actually deliver that one, and Getgate rightly pulling out, in fairness to Georgeson as well. Really interesting to hear his thoughts during the week, talking to Cricket Wellington back home. He was praising the standard of Irish club cricket in particular. The man who's got the contract with Wellington is, we'll see him return back to New Zealand probably in August or September, but he's been a great addition to the game this year. 15 overs gone. It's 117 for 4. We're going to have a change in the commentary box. I'll leave you with Andrew Blair-White, who will be joined by Peter Gillespie.
Yeah, it's excellent to be joined by Peter Gillespie. And Peter, when you exited the commentary box, I doubt you thought you'd be coming back with the Northwest Warriors. 117 for 4 with still 5 overs to go.
Yeah, it's been an exciting 45 minutes or so. I was just speaking to Andrew Rose, the Knights manager, after 10 overs. And I says, you must be happy with that. There were 60 for 3 off 10, going at sixes, and then in the last 5-6 overs, William McClintock and Shane Getgate really just took the game to another level. They started scoring at 10s, started finding boundaries at regular intervals, which wasn't happening before, and it's really put the Warriors up to something which you can hope now can be a competitive score.
You certainly have to think so. Having a look on your screen there, that Manhattan would show you all you need to know. 4 of the last 5 overs, over 10 runs and over. And Ruan Pretorius coming back into the attack for the first time today now from the Mason Road end of the ground. And I think for the Knights, now that they've got McClintock out, they've got to try in some way to stunt the momentum.
Absolutely. You'd think these next 5 overs are going to be crucial.
That's a good start from Pretorius, nailing his Yorker, and they run through for a single.
And obviously, key to that's going to be Shane Getgate. If Shane bats for these next 5 overs, I think the Northwest are going to have really something to aim at, something to really have a go at the Knights.
Yeah, you'd have to think if Shane Getgate was to bat all of these 5 overs, the Northwest would be looking at a score north of 160 from here. That'd be another 45 runs from these 5 overs. That's well attainable in modern day 2020 cricket.
He seems to have really got the pace of this pitch now. Seems to really know where the length balls are, where he can hit, where he can target boundaries. And obviously there's one end of the ground which the wind's blowing towards, which is predominantly shorter. It's helping.
Yeah, it's clever from McBride. I think at this stage of the innings, especially with McBride, the new man, you'd have to assume he's just going to look to get Shane Getgate back on strike and try to keep things moving. As you say, Shane Getgate, he's managed the pitch very well. 31 off just 26 deliveries, and has timed the ball excellently in that as well. Lower ball from Pretorius. Getgate's done excellently there, and he's going to get 4 from it as well. Jeremy Lawler with a despairing dive. He was having to make an awful lot of ground from deep square leg. It was more of a fine leg situation for Shane Getgate. That's extremely good hands to manoeuvre the ball into that area for 4.
It was a great adjustment because he really took the pace off it, Pretorius, and he had to check his shot and check it again almost. And as you say, great hands, great wrist to get it in that position. Trickled over the boundary despite the despairing dive of Jeremy Lawler.
Good comeback from Ruan Pretorius this time around, just a single. It has been a pitch though. I know it did look potentially very tricky early on. It seems to have flattened out a little bit throughout the innings.
Yeah, as I say, I think the batsmen have really got to grips with the pace, got to grips with what the bowlers are trying to do. They know it's not going to be as high scoring as previous pitches. They're happy to wait their time, take their boundaries where they have them. And I think possibly the night skipper's missing a trick here. I know there's 4 and a bit overs to go, but he's got everyone out on the ring. He's happy to give McBride the single, which I thought would possibly look to keep him on strike for a couple of balls, keep Getgate off strike more so.
It makes more sense for this delivery to try and give him a single to obviously get him on strike, but as you were right, the previous delivery was the same. Pretorius there. I think that one was probably just sliding down the leg side, but the Knights won't be too disappointed with that, as you alluded to there, Peter. McBride keeping on strike, and a good over overall from Pretorius.
Yeah, good over from both sides there. Northwest picking up another boundary, a few singles, keeps the scoreboard ticking over nicely. 4 overs to go. They're set fair in a nice position. 1-2-5 for 4. They can launch a good attack here now in these last 4 overs, especially with 2 to the short boundary and the wind helping.
Exactly, it'd be very interesting to see who the Northern Knights do use in this 4 overs. You'd have to assume Luke Georgeson could well bowl the 2 from the pavilion end of the ground. Mark Adair will certainly bowl his. Will they go back to Ben White? Will they use him potentially from the Mason Road end with the wind more in his favour? These are all decisions for Harry Tector, but Georgeson's going to continue for now.
I think the left-hand, right-hand combination is going to keep him guessing somewhat to see which bowlers will bowl where or finish for him.
Bowled from Luke Georgeson yet again, nailing his York, but it's very good keeping from Neil Rock as well. Always
Slightly unlucky there. It was a good delivery and still pick up a single, brings Get back on strike.
It's an excellent delivery.
Yeah.
Neil Rock's actually done quite well in the end there to prevent that one. Sometimes those can trickle away for 4, and that is even more frustrating as a bowler.
Absolutely, we've all been there. Bowl a good ball, it trickles down to the fine leg boundary while he's in the ring for 4.
Yeah, Georgeson coming around the wicket to the right-handed Get-Kate. Get-Kate smeared it over the offside, but it's gone straight down Jeremy Lawler's throat. A deep cover. That was the field they had in place. They had a deep cover and a deep backward point. Get-Kate's found one of them, and his knock at 36 comes to an end, just slicing that one ever so slightly, looking to go more over extra cover, and a good innings ends.
It was a good innings from Shane Getgate. He really set a good platform from the northwest there, but it was intelligent bowling from Georgeson and really captain's dream there. Bowled his field, he came round the wicket as you said, was happy to give him wide, to keep it out of his hitting arc, hit the long boundary, and he found one of those 2 guys on the offside boundary. Didn't have to do a lot of work there, quite a comfortable catch in the end. So good cricket all round.
And it brings Graham Kennedy to the crease for the Northwest Warriors. Luke Georgeson, he's been a little bit expensive, but he's doing a good job here. He's taken 2 big wickets now for the Northern Knights, done exactly what his captain Harry Tector will have wanted. And this is an absolutely crucial 3 or 4 over period for both sides, because the difference even psychologically between chasing 150, 165, 170 is absolutely massive.
Absolutely, every run's going to be a prisoner from here on in, and you'd assume the boundary count's going to drop with these 2 guys at the wicket.
Clipped off the pads from McBride, and he's done well to bisect deep square and fine leg. Easily come back for 2. Georgeson adopting an extremely full approach here. Certainly not going to chance one being in that slot area.
No, there's no margin for error here because the fuller balls have been the balls that have been dispatched today. The Northwest batsmen have shown no mercy to anything that's been in the slot. As you say, it's disappeared, so he's going full.
Does very well again there, Georgeson, perfecting his Yorker. Just another single. The Knights won't mind that in this situation.
No.
Where they've been, and Georgeson, he's certainly done very well so far. He's nailed 4 Yorkers on the trot.
Yeah, again, he's following Andy McBride there. He's given him absolutely no room. He's not taking any chances of getting anything in that hitting arc. And if he misses his length, it's really cramping him up. And the Warriors, you feel at this stage, are going to struggle. Are going to struggle to up their boundary count. Georgeson's really hitting the money here.
He mixes it up on his first delivery to Kennedy. Slower ball into the pitch. Kennedy just gets it out to deep square leg. Good fielding. James McCollum out there. Good change up from Georgeson there. I suspect Kennedy might have been expecting that fuller delivery again, showing good versatility in his skills.
Yes, just showing the full range of his skills. He's been quite successful with his Yorkers there, and he just caught him a bit by surprise with that slower bouncer.
Yeah, Georgeson will be looking to get out of his over here without a boundary, and will do so as McBride tucks that one into the leg side again, but again just a single. Very good over from Luke Georgeson, just the 6 runs from it. And that wicket, a very key wicket as well, of Shane Getgate, ends the 17th over. The Northwest Warriors 131 for 5, and Luke Georgian's come into the attack here and really made a difference.
Yeah, he's really dragged the Knights back into this game after what was a tricky start to the back half of the innings, where Getgate and McClintock really powered the Warriors up to the total that they have at the moment, and he's dragged them back single-handedly with 2 key wickets. He was expensive in his first over, but he picked up the key wicket of McClintock and he followed that up in the next over with the key wicket of Shane Getgate, and he's really put it back onto the Northwest Warriors now. They have 18 balls, and you'd like to think that even a run of ball, getting them up to somewhere around the 150 mark, would be the very minimum that they would need.
Well, certainly it would be the very minimum that they'd want given the situation they found themselves in. Graham McCarter is going to come into the attack, and I suppose that was the decision Tector had to make, whether this over was going to be bowled by McCarter or the spin of Ben White. He's gone for seam, which you'd have to think is probably, based off what we've seen today, the wise angle. That the seamers seem to have been a little bit more tricky to get away than the spinners.
Yeah, and I also think from the Mason Road end, you have the shorter boundary for 2 left-handers. The ball turning in, you'd like to think if he was going to have an over out of Ben White, it's probably going to be at this end while the 2 left-handers still at the wicket.
Kennedy just clipping that one away for a single, and as we've alluded to now a few times, just seems like the momentum and the energy slightly been sapped out of this Northwest innings.
Yeah, McCarter's really taken the Georgian approach here. He's gone full with his first 2 balls. And the Knights are quite happy to give away these singles. They're not going to do much damage.
Well, it's good execution from McCarter, given the field he has here. Neil Rock's actually done very well to swoop round there from his keeping position.
You can see the Knights' game plan here. They're quite happy, have the field spread, protect the boundaries, give the Northwest a single. He's almost sent Andy McBride. I'm happy to be chasing 150 on this wicket after how this roller coaster of a game's gone.
Yes, exactly so. Also, they've got the protection in those key areas as well, with the way McCarter is trying to bowl. Square leg and fine leg up in the ring. A very fine short third man, Paul Sterling there, and just extra cover as well. They've got a wide third man and a deep cover, long on, long off, and deep mid wicket, so it tailors to full bowling.
Yeah, full and wide, which as you can see has been par in this over so far. He's taken that hitting arc, taken the short side of the ground out of the equation. He's really putting it up to Andy McBride, the 2 left-handers here, saying if you want to score a boundary, you're going to have to hit me over the guys to the big side of the ground. Away you go.
Yeah, McCarter's bowled well so far in this over and finishes well. Another dot for him. Just the 4 singles from that over, just going to show how hard it's been to probably get in on this pitch. And the Northwest Warriors 135 for 5 with 2 overs to go, and these 2 overs could be massive.
Yeah, and I think it gives kudos to the innings that Getgate and McClintock both played. It shows you how difficult it is to score boundaries when the ball is not in the slot, and those guys really have got the Northwest into any kind of fighting chance here. But Georgeson continues again. He's been impressive in his 2 overs.
Started more in the low full toss than a Yorker, but so often have we seen that that's actually not a bad miss, and it's really tidy work from Mark Adair down on the long on boundary. They look to come back for 2, not able to on that arm.
No, he's he's persevering with the full option. It's paying dividends so far. There's no reason to change it yet.
Yeah, again, he's got the protection action out there, and it's utilising the ground, this bowling. We've seen with Graham McCarter, he was bowling more wide kind of Yorkers, as for Georgeson trying to tuck up both Kennedy and McBride, not allowing them access, over the offside, which is that shorter boundary.
Yeah, and I think the batsmen have seen enough now. I would like to see what the batsmen are going to do. What's their plan? How are they going to change this? Are they going to allow him to dominate, bowl to him? I would like to see them try something different. Maybe go a bit deeper. Look at the lap option if it's an option, or maybe see if they can muscle something over mid-on cover. You're just sitting on the ring. But Georgeson's executing his skills very, very well here. He's making it very, very difficult for the batsmen. He's asked questions of them, and so far they don't have very many answers, Andrew.
Yeah, they do. Bar that last ball of McCarthy's previous over where McBride tried to go over a square leg. Hasn't been much invention. Again, just clipped away from McBride. They'll look for two here and they'll come back. Oh, that's good running. Again, just another clip away from Andy McBride. It's been difficult to come in on this pitch and immediately go for everything. But they've still got to try and chip away, try to at least get that 7-8 and over.
Georgeson really seems to have got to grips with conditions. He knows where he wants to bowl it. He's executing that perfectly.
McBride goes straight and he gets one out of the screws. Georgeson just missing his Yorker this time round, and those infamous hoots on the car as Andy McBride's finally got one off the middle of the bat. It soars over Markadair at long on, and this is a big 6.
And that'll be welcome relief for the Warriors. He missed it first ball, but it was slightly tucked up, and McBride can only get him away to wide long on. But this time he was ready for it. It was in the slot, and he took maximum advantage.
An excellent shot from McBride. What can he do off this last ball from Georgeson? It's into the pitch, and he's done very well there, McBride. He's going to come back for 2. Clever batting. He knew he couldn't get a boundary from that ball. He's actually placed it into that gap and gets 2 in the process.
Yeah, good finish for the Warriors to that over. Georgeson up to then had been fantastic. But Andy McBride really, that's what it has. Bit of showing a bit of invention. Hit the gap, got a 2, then put the full ball away for the maximum, and then finishes with another well placed shot for 2. And that takes the Warriors up to 148 going into the last 6 balls, which is really where you'd hope they would be.
Yeah, no, it's been an excellent innings from the Northwest after a slightly sluggish start. Absolutely phenomenal viewing figures watching at the moment all across the world. Make sure to get in touch with us on social media. Tell us where you're watching the game from on Twitter and Facebook at Cricket Ireland, and on Instagram at Cricket_Ireland as well. We really hope you're enjoying the coverage here from Bready. As this big final over, Markadair back into the attack to bowl it to Graham Kennedy. Well, it's gone. It's been signalled to wide by Mark Hawthorne. I'm not sure Markadair is too pleased with that call.
Much to the dismay of the bowler, I feel. But he, like McCarter, is quite happy to go wide and full. Let the batsman target the big side of the ground.
Yeah, I think for Graham Kennedy here, it's just a matter of trying to get maybe Andy McBride back on strike. So he hits one out towards wide long on, and that has gone straight to long on in the end. I think it's Ross Adair out there. Caught Ross Adair, bowled Mark Adair.
A good running catch. The brothers Adair doing it for the Knights. It was a bit in the slot. I think he'd be disappointed to not capitalise on that delivery. And Graham Kennedy trudges back to the pavilion.
As you say, Peter, he'll be a little bit disappointed with that. Mark Adair didn't nail his Yorker on that occasion, and it is a short enough boundary to the leg side. But unfortunately falling short, Kennedy, he departs just for 4 and brings Graham Hume to the crease. He's going to have to get his skates on at the moment, because you'd have to think that Andy McBride will probably be targeting twos and then try to get a few boundaries as well to try and bring the Northwest Warriors up to that elusive 160 score. Wasp has us in at 157. Again, McBride trying to access over square leg. I noted in the previous over that square leg and fine leg were in the ring. He was trying to hit that more pavilion bound.
Yeah, he was looking to target the cars and the car horns.
Yeah.
Set them alight there, Andrew. And again, I'd be disappointed to miss that. It was length and might have been a little bit of pace off there, a bit of variation, but it's brought the burly fast bowler on strike who can also hit a big ball.
Yeah, Graham Hume to face up. And does well. Down to long on. It's just going to be one though. Again, good from Adair.
You'll be happy with this. Anything that doesn't involve a boundary is a win for bowler and for the Knights.
That's exactly just the 3 runs so far from the first 3 deliveries. They'll be more than happy with that.
Yeah, I think the name of the game at this stage is just stop as many boundaries as possible.
Exactly, no better man for the job than Mark Adair. As I say that, he's bowled a full toss and it's been plundered by Andy McBride for 6 over deep square leg. It's a short boundary out there. Braver people than me parking on that bank here in Bready, as McBride has almost endangered a few with a massive 6.
I'll say thank you, Andrew, as I put my Warriors hat on, and be very pleased with the commentator's curse there on Mark Adair. He had a fantastic over up to then, and he, as the previous over, he just missed length slightly. It's disappeared for a maximum, a welcome maximum for the Warriors. Full again from Adair. McBride squeezes that one out to deep cover for a single. Brings Hume back on strike. This innings has really swung back and forward between the two teams. You feel at times neither team have got to grips with conditions, and then times have both looked dominant. And we're 158 going into the last ball. A lot could hinge on this delivery.
Hume looking to finish with a bang. Drilled down the ground. McBride is almost already back for 2 by the time that Graham Hume had completed a single. 2 is all it is. The Northwest Warriors finishing on that perfect round score of 160 for 6. You'd have to think that they feel they're in the box seat here, having been asked to bat on a tricky morning for batting here in Bready, but a brilliant innings from William McClintock and ably assisted by Shane Getgate, and also a very canny knock there at the end from Andy McBride.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very competitive total, Andrew, and I think it shows that there's value in this wicket. When the bowlers get it right, there's value in this wicket for bowling, and it's going to be difficult. But if you do stray offline, the batsmen will take advantage. So it's going to set it up. It's set it up for a very interesting second innings.
Yeah, good applause for Andy McBride and his side coming off the pitch there. 160 for 6, as you can see from the scorecard, dominated by that William McClintock innings, and it was an absolutely super knock of 54.
It was 54 of 32. Real exhibition of power hitting. Anything that missed its length was punished severely. Great partnership with Shane Getgate, and then Andy McBride finishing it off with the real captain's knock, 27 of only 19 balls. That's really set the tone here, and I think we're in for an interesting second half.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for that. As you can see from the partnerships, that main one of 84 from Getgate and McClintock was the mainstay of that innings, but also a few canny little partnerships at the end there. 23 between McBride and Kennedy, helpful as well. Looking at the Northern Knights bowling figures, Mark Adair, very good for his 1 for 21 wickets. Also for Luke Georgeson, Ben White, Graham McCarter and Ruan Pretorius, but will they feel a little bit disappointed overall that they've gone for 160 in the end?
I think definitely they will. There was a stage, as I say, at the halfway stage, they had Warriors at 6 and over, and you think at that stage they were very much in the box seat. But a strong second 10 overs has really put the Warriors in control here, and we'll see what happens now coming up from the night's innings.
Yeah, should be an excellent run chase here. As you say, short boundaries on offer. There should be plenty of runs to be scored throughout this entire weekend, and it started excellently. You haven't just shown on your picture there some of the ground staff out in the middle here at Bready, and what a Trojan effort it's been this morning to have gotten play started at 11 a.m. I must confess, when I arrived up here last night, I didn't think we'd be playing on time, but it's been a super effort from all involved. Place looking in splendid condition as well, given the amount of rain yesterday.
Yeah, I was speaking to the groundsman earlier, and he said those very words. It's been a heroic effort by all club members and some of the Warriors players as well to get the ground covered yesterday after training whenever the rains came, and it's all worked out perfectly. We've had a great start here in the first innings of the festival weekend, and I think that anytime we can get cricket played in these conditions is a win.
Indeed it is, and hopefully we will have a fascinating run chase in the next 15 minutes or so. But please stay with us, because after an ad break we're going to join Andrew Leonard for our new Beyond the Boundary segment, which we introduced last week at Pembroke. Looking forward to seeing what he has in store for us this week. So stay tuned for that, coming up after the ad break.
Time to embrace the giant spirit of Derry, Londonderry. Visit discovernorthernireland.com.
Yeah, hello and welcome to Beyond the Boundary. It's a very cold, blustery, wind-swept Beyond the Boundary. I'm Andrew Leonard, and time for our mid-innings chat that we inaugurated last week at the IP20 festival. Delighted to have Catherine Ruff join me, the Northwest Cricket Union Women and Girls Development Officer. Thanks for coming on and having a bit of a chat with us.
No problem.
So Catherine, tell me a bit about your role. You've been working up here for about 3 years with the Northwest Cricket Union.
Yep, so I took the role as the Women and Girls Development Officer 3 years ago, to the day actually almost. It's been a really challenging role. Nobody had done it before, so that was really good because it meant that I was able to pave the way I wanted to make it work. Obviously COVID came in as a big headache last year, but we've managed really well, and this year we've probably done a lot of things that we maybe didn't think would happen maybe till next year.
Your involvement in cricket came at a kind of a later point in your life. You've even started playing a little bit yourself. But how has it been trying to introduce the sport to people who have no involvement or no history with the game?
Well, I think probably from my perspective it's really good because I know what it's like maybe not to play cricket, so getting girls involved in the game is good because I know what might be a barrier to them. I played hockey all my life and I'm still involved with coaching hockey, and I see that hockey and cricket go hand in hand, so I've been recruiting a lot of the girls who play hockey to play cricket, which has been really good. And we also I've been involved with sport all my life. I've done coaching badges since I was a teenager, and I have a real passion for getting women and girls involved in sport and staying involved as well. I think that's really important too.
Yeah, we're in the beautiful northwest of Ireland here at Bready Cricket Club. There's a great history and heritage and culture of the sport here in the northwest. You think of all those famous names, Cyan Mills, Donnamana, Coleraine, Limavady, all of these clubs that have a great history of the game, but perhaps not so much of the women's game. How are you going about changing that and getting more and more of those famous northwest clubs to have a women's section, have a girls section, and why should they be doing that?
Well, it's just about selling the women and girls games to those clubs, and every club. We've had quite a lot of interest from different clubs who wouldn't maybe historically have had a female senior team, and they have started with their juniors, and they're working really hard at getting their juniors to not only play girls and boys cricket, but now also to separate, so they have the girls playing their own game and the boys playing their own game as well. So that's really exciting to see all of that, and it's allowed a lot of the clubs to now have an under 13 girls side entered into our new under 13 league.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about those numbers. 6 senior women's teams now here in the northwest, 5 development sides and 5 under 13 teams. That's the kind of riches that just 5 or 6 years ago would have probably been unimaginable for northwest cricket.
Yeah, well, first of all, we only had our senior league prior to this year. We have brought in the development league this year. That is probably going to be a temporary status. The idea is to allow women and girls to have an opportunity to play the game. Obviously there's lots of girls who are over 13, so we thought, well, if we put in a development league, it allows maybe some of the older ladies who have played previously, the girls can come back, offer some of their experience and understanding of the game to the younger girls who maybe aren't used to playing matches, and give them a bit more of an understanding of the game, because there's a lot of tactics and strategies when you're playing cricket, and a lot of the girls don't necessarily know all of that, and generally it's just because they haven't had match practice.
Yeah, and a lot of that talent you're discovering and the girls you're bringing through, they're coming from primary school visits initially, is it?
Yeah, so we have been working really hard going into all the primary schools, trying to get the kids then directed out into different clubs. Our clubs are doing a really, really great job of offering coaching to their youth sections at the moment. In fact, I think some of the clubs are really struggling because they've got so many kids coming down, but that's a really good complaint. So it's great whenever you see, like I've seen a number of girls especially who've been playing in the under 13 league that I would have coached at school, and it's lovely to see them in the photographs, the team photographs then of the league whenever they're playing in their league games.
Yeah, new dedicated women and girls cricket strategy launched by Cricket Ireland, I think just last month, and a real focus on growing the women's game, not just here in Ireland but internationally. We see the ICC making big efforts with the women's game. What are the benefits? Can you describe to a club who maybe doesn't have a women's section at the moment, what are the benefits of getting young women and girls involved in the sport? It's just fantastic to get extra social engagement, extra, like we spoke to Isabel Joyce about this, she was saying 51% of the population are women in Ireland. We should have more women's and girls sections, but why would you implore clubs to do that and get involved with the women's game?
I think it's such a unique selling point that cricket clubs have, the fact that they can offer the sport to men and to women, and it gives the clubs a real family feel. There's not very many sports that can offer a place for your kids to come if you want to still play, and cricket's the sort of game that you can play even just socially. It's a great way to keep in touch with people that you know and people that you enjoy spending time with, and ultimately playing the sport that you love.
Yeah, of course, it's a non-contact sport as well. That
Yeah.
will appeal to a lot of people. The two programmes, Cricket Ireland running, Smash It and It's Wicket. You'll hopefully be rolling those out across many of the clubs.
Yeah, so Smash It is a programme for 5 to 9 year olds, girls and boys. It's a brilliant little programme that allows anybody to coach the kids. The kids are talked through all the little drills and skills that they need to do, and it's really easy as a coach to follow. It's Wicket is specifically for girls aged 9 to 13, and it's a foundation programme for all our youth girls coming through, so that's the programme that we want to see lots of the clubs taking on board whenever they're looking for new recruits.
Catherine, feels like we could talk to you all afternoon, but we've got a record break time. Craig Young with the new ball. We'll get over to Andrew Blair White to call the first delivery.
Yeah, as we've just seen there, great thanks to Andrew Leonard and to Catherine Rice there for their Beyond the Boundary chat. Paul Sterling's just played and missed there at the first delivery. Seemed to be an extremely small break between the innings, but the Northern Knights chasing 161 in their 20 overs here. Paul Sterling and James McCollum opening the batting, Craig Young opening the bowling from the pavilion end.
Might need to check the umpires' watches there, Andrew. That felt like about a 10-minute break, not the 20 minutes we've been accustomed to down at Pembroke last week.
Yeah, I think it was a 10-minute break. Certainly seemed to be very rushed, and almost a moment of magic there from Craig Young with the left boot. We saw Sam Curran with the right boot last night in Cardiff run somebody out. James McCollum might have been a short there if Young had hit.
Andrew, I know you're fond of your memes. You're a big man on social media. What about some of those memes last night of Sam Curran? Firstly, with the Alan Partridge goal commentary dubbed over the top. Then there was a Channel 4 Italia goal, Lazio one over the top. There was football's coming home. It was brilliant stuff, really, wasn't it? The perfect internet memes.
Yeah, it was absolutely superb. It was great work from Sam Curran. So often have we seen bowlers running through on the follow through trying to kick it, and they scuff it or they miss it completely. He absolutely leathered it onto middle stump, and Craig Young unfortunately unable to repeat the trick there in the first over.
Yeah, so back to the action here. Good to hear the thoughts of Catherine and my Beyond the Boundary chat. But this game, in my opinion, I might be wrong, is going to come down to the Northwest Warriors versus the man at the crease, Paul Sterling, in just his second T20 appearance for the Knights. His first one he made 41 not out off 24.
And he's out. He's gone. Craig Young, back of a length. And Paul Sterling, we've seen that a few times already today now, where the ball's just seemingly kind of held in the pitch. A wry smile on Paul Sterling's face. He's tried to hit that on the up over the covers, and it's just looped straight to Shane Getcate at cover.
The reason for the wry smile, completely different conditions and circumstances to those that Sterling would have played at in the last couple of weeks. He smiles ruefully because he feels that there's nothing he could have done. That one is just ballooned from back of a length. And brilliant from the Northwest Warriors. They have read the conditions, they've read the circumstances so much better. They've immediately learnt. Could have learned from the first 5 overs of the first innings. You've got to bowl it into the pitch. That's exactly what Craig Young has done. He's got the big wicket. The big man Sterling has gone for one. The Knights, they're in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, they're in massive trouble here as Jeremy Lawler comes in at number 3 with a big job on now. You would have thought, as Andrew was alluding to a ball or two ago, if the Knights were to make a big chance at this, Paul Sterling would have to get runs. He's back in the hutch early on, and it's good bowling from Craig Young. He was so good with the ball last week in Pembroke, yet again doing the job.
Look at that, spits off the back of a length, and the immediate reaction from the batsman is to take the bottom hand off the bat. This is brilliant from Craig Young. And how well are the Northwest Warriors using their home conditions? They've read this pitch perfectly.
Yeah, I think this is also putting into context just how good an innings it was from William McClintock earlier on this morning on what has not been an easy pitch. An awful lot of other batters have come in and it hasn't looked easy. He made it look like they were batting somewhere beautiful.
Lawler will get off the mark, working that into the leg side. Lawler missing a couple of the matches last weekend with an ankle injury. I think just rolled his ankle in one of the warm-ups. One over gone in the chase, 3 for 1. Craig Young, fantastic year in both formats so far. He's the jog of a man down to fine leg of a man who's in great form and very happy with his game, happy with his life right now, Craig Young.
Yeah, he's probably at the peak of his game, where it's the best it's ever been at, and he'll certainly be absolutely over the moon about getting Paul Stirling out in that first over. They'll have come out with a plan of how to try and get Stirling out. After 4 deliveries, he's back in the pavilion. And the Northwest Warriors, Wasp was just on your screen there a second ago, giving the Northern Knights an 8% chance. And you'd have to think that is probably around the chance they have, because on this pitch 160 looks a long way away when you're 3 for 1.
Yeah, great work from Wasp to be reading the conditions as well, because I think it's about spot on. Knights have it all to do right now. Graham Hume will be efficient with a nagging line and length. He's going to open the bowling. Good work from Porterfield. Direct hit's going to be close at mid-off. You can't help but think as well the Knights' approach, which was very much being a little more staid, a little more cautious. And with Stirling gone, it's going to be a tall task to be getting more than 8 and over.
Yeah, will be. And you'd have to think a few of these batters, I know we were talking about it last weekend with the likes of Jeremy Lawler, James McCollum, Ruan Pretorius, probably more suited to the 50 over format as well, and it's looked a hard pitch to come in and score immediately at that 7, 8 and over, so you'd have to think they're well up against it here.
They really are. James McCollum is another man who is going to be wanting to make his case. Left out of the Irish squad to the Netherlands, one of the few changes from the side that went out to Abu Dhabi that lost 3-0 to Afghanistan. He was distraught being left out, and he's wondering how he's going to find a way back in. He'll need a weight of runs in the T20 format here. Not easy batting conditions at all, Andrew.
No, not at all. Somebody like Graham Hume is probably one of the best exponents of these sort of conditions in the whole of Ireland. He bowls that nagging back of a length line. I feel with Alan Lewis not here, I must say Graham Hume is a miserly bowler, because Alan loves that word when describing Hume, but he has been very tight all year long.
Down the ground, the first signs of real aggression, nearly going to William Porterfield, but it's going to run away for a boundary. You thought just for half a moment, Andrew, that Porterfield was in the game. Again, hanging right on the edge of the circle, a good shot, but a little chancy from McCollum. Takes the aerial route.
Yeah, it was a good shot, but it's actually probably hung in the air a little bit. That's against the breeze over there.
Looks to follow it up with the ramp, but that's not where he intended to hit it, but he's going to get back-to-back boundaries. A little fortuitous this time, to say the least. It wasn't the reverse ramp. It was an attempted scoop over the shoulder, but it's come off the shoulder of the bat, and it's looped over the head of the third man fielder. Fortune for McCollum.
Yeah, big fortune there, but short third man and short fine leg in the ring. The scoop wasn't actually a bad option whatsoever.
Really good stop at backward point from Graham Kennedy. Will allow Hume to get out of the over with just those 2 boundaries really doing the damage. 2 overs gone in the chase. It's 12 for 1. I want to just talk about one thing here, Andrew. Let's take a look at the bowling figures from the first innings from the Northern Knights. 6 bowlers used. Ben White brought on to bowl an over in the power play, which brought about a wicket. We question that. And then 2 overs from Harry Tector. Do you feel that Tector, 5 overs of spin, misread the conditions a touch, or what do you feel?
Yeah, potentially. So it's very easy probably sitting here in hindsight and discussing that, but at the same time it looked like the seamers were getting good joy out of the pitch. Ruin Pretorius, I thought, bowled very well with that sort of back of a length stock ball as Jeremy Lawler is trying to target that short boundary from Craig Young. But yeah, it's probably one of those that they'll have to unfortunately have taken their medicine and learned from, and it's, I think, absolutely imperative for the Knights going forward in their next 2 games this weekend that they do learn from that and potentially bowl a little bit. I thought at times, even with their seam bowling, they were a little bit floaty, a little bit into the arc, and the likes of McClintock really seized upon that.
A little bit of sunshine for the first time as Lawler gets it all the way for 4 runs, just one bounce very short. You can see Andy McBride almost patting it down like a divot. New balls please, the golfers are out. This is a really good shot bowled into the pitch, but he's picked it up over the offside, unorthodox from Lawler, and look at how close that was to a 6. There's the divot being replaced by McBride.
Yeah, as close as you're going to get. This is an absolutely superb shot from Lawler. We haven't seen somebody all day almost play a shot off the back foot with as much conviction as he's just hit that.
Going to repeat the dose over the leg side. Maybe this pitch is a little easier to bat on, and smashing into the windows. We're going to have the Glazers out because that's done damage to the Bready Pavilion. After all their work to get the cricket on here today, perhaps they wish they hadn't, because that one is going to need a fix.
It is going to need a fix, and it's the scorers up there as well. They have to signal for the 6 after their windows just been completely crashed into. Brilliant shot from Jeremy Lawler. Unfortunately, new glass required up there.
Probably just as well the Northwest Warriors are out in the field as well, because that's exactly where the entire squad was standing. Glass shattering down. That's more like it from Craig Young. Probably just getting a little greedy the last 2 deliveries. Getting extravagant with his shorter deliveries, which is a little hit on his stock delivery.
Absolutely, Craig Young some way of responding. Probably seeing it seemed that just back of a length, but at times it's been very sweet.
Gonna return done 4-6, it's 4 deliveries. Just higher than Knights might have all loving his power in his game well, just conventional strokes. Orthodox over the offside. This is just plant a foot down, heaved it. Throw for 6 more.
Yeah, absolutely stunning shot from Lawler. Co-commentator Peter, he wasn't seeing the last the long on boundary, prompts a change in the field. Long on goes down, back on the rope.
Change up from Young, and there's real anger from Young. That's why he's throwing the ball through with the fury. Stops to run out, or it's frustration. Rocket dribble value of cryptocurrency from 8% to 32%, just like that. It's 21. Very much aim on to start the festival here. Fest number 2, the Northwest.
Prompt a change in the bowl as well. I think Adam McBride definitely the attack. But very interesting to see what McBride, as we've said, it looks like Seam's going to be the better option on the pitch. But you look at the Northwest Warriors, they've got Ryan Allen in it. Awful lot's going to be there.
I think this change perhaps is a much thing. There's no doubt McBride is the most reliable bowler, not just for the Warriors, reliable bowlers and others as well. Offers Barry the greatest control. So after Young was spat by an team from 9, a great start for him. You just wonder, as McBride try to do an over here, get through on the power play. They can get through this power play, it's going to be even more for Knights. Remember, the good aggressive stuff for Knights. You would have felt with Sterling being disappeared, they might have the ghost of some of the opposite. So McBride will offer control. Probably like to be smashed around by you.
Yes, exactly. But I'm sure Captain Harry Tector and Coach Johnson very happy with the way McCollum and Lawler have back down here. They've been innovative and have really to put back on the North attack, which William McClintock get earlier to great success in the first inning.
From Lover pitched again. We've seen when the spinners go too full, it is easy. Thuds into the main. I'm turning that boundary for it. Really good start this from Lawler. The Knights right in the game.
Yeah, seriously, good batting from Jeremy Lawler. He was excellent in the IP20 series earlier this summer, showing himself off as a good T20 option as well.
Follows up the 4 down the ground with a punch for the single to one of the 2 fielders allowed outside the circle at the moment. That's long on, but it's a slight change for McCollum. Obviously they feel McCollum stronger on the pun. The sweet so he could square leg corner 5-4 leg side field from McBride. Slower through the air, beautifully bowled, and good work from Craig Young at fine leg. It's just a single.
Good batting, especially from Jerry Lawler. Just to let ball starting.
But then quickly tee back and the Warriors roll over the Knights. Big fish pull Sterling in the hutch. People flow just half an hour from Young went 6 or 4-6-6. He's just changed the game, changed the approach, changed the mindset of the bowlers, put pressure on the captain, brings himself before he's gone.
Close, all men can do. Anything don't change ends. He's not going to come from the pavilion end after his first over. I think it's been great to see over the last number of months that probably the change in philosophy from some like James McCollum approaching different. Now he's trying to get his scoops and both of us got more options than he used to have in the white ball game.
Do you think as well for the Warriors there's that shortage of bowlers? Wilson's a hamstring injury made into the team. Gate's proven expensive with his seam bowling. He also is going to be cast around, but it is big celebration for West Spears from the home crowd. That's a big wicket. McCollum falls for 11. At the moment,
well, putting markers in the first and the others, 4 overs had more because it looked off bat like he got more, but he had from Brian taking a relation himself back a bit off there, bowling back again the serve.
He put on a really big throw at the end. Captain. Good back from team last weekend after a really heavy heat in game 1 second. It just turned out the best full festival of 3. But no real runs from with the bat last weekend, and just seemed like struggling to get going a little in the 20 format.
Yeah, he'd been disappointed with this weekend last September. Just not the sort of volume runs he'd be coming accustomed to. And once a school, that being T20 cricket can just change so quickly. Just a couple of boundaries early on in an innings can completely change. I've seen about your game. Exactly, will be hoping your positive start can lead to good innings.
He did do too often. He really took a little while to get going down. And Pembroke would be pleased with that as we see sunshine coming across the ground for the first time. If you're just joining us for the first time today, this is the second T20 festival up in Bready in the northwest of Ireland. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the world. If you ever get a chance to come up to the northwest, the hospitality is second to none. Put on a great show as they always do here today. Some of the club members telling me they were here at 5 o'clock this morning with heaters out because it was torrential rain on Thursday. Great effort from them to get play right from the off. And yeah, you'd have to think could be in for not just a good finish in this first game, but a really good weekend of cricket with hopefully not more rain.
Yeah, so certainly it was everyone involved. Speaking on a commentary, Peter, about the Trojan work being put in by everyone involved here in Bready. They love their cricket up here in the northwest. They're brilliant hosts. Hopefully a good weekend in store. Just pushing that one into the leg side for a single. 24 from 15 from him, very hard this stage of the innings to know what to do. If you're Jeremy Lawler, do you keep attacking, keep taking that aggressive option even though wickets are falling, or do you maybe sit a little bit? Hector just clips that one into the leg side for a single himself. He'll feel a lot better getting a couple of singles to get his innings going. Northern Knights, as you can see there from the screen, the run rate not the issue at the moment. The required run rate well within reach. 2 wickets in the power play will slightly unsettle them, and if they were to lose another one in the next 7 deliveries, they'd have to be behind, as Wasp would indicate.
Yeah, good stuff from Hume, this really is. Beautifully bowled. Very effective, very metronomic with his length, reminiscent of a Tim Murda. Here's Graham Hume. So 5 overs gone. Score 38 for 2. Let's take a look at what's going on here. It's the CEO. Visit Derry. The Mayor of Derry as well. Got all of the paraphernalia around the neck. They were just getting a few photographs taken, and the reason they are here supporting cricket and supporting cricket in a big way, a grant gone towards the hosting of the Zimbabwe T20 series, where we'll be back here at this very ground here in beautiful Derry. We're just south of Derry City in Bready, at Bready Cricket Club, and this ground will play host to all of those T20 internationals. Really looking forward to those games. I'm sure we'll be bringing you those on our live stream, no doubt, as well. And yeah, thank you to both of those gentlemen for their support, and some of the dignitaries here today, as we just see a team bus coming in as well. I wonder, is that the Munster Reds just arriving into the ground? Remember, it's a festival field this weekend. 2 games every day, 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. First game here is the All Northern Derby. The Northwest Warriors, the home side, against the Northern Knights. And a game right in the balance. Harry Tector, the Knights captain, winning the toss, choosing to bowl this morning. Couldn't question that decision. The wicket certainly feels a bit spongy. Awful lot of overnight rain. But the Knights were put to the sword by brilliant batting, particularly from William McClintock and Shane Getgate. And a little cameo from Andy McBride as well. He's taken himself out and brought Graham Kennedy into the attack. And immediately we're going to see Kennedy not deliver it, because Harry Tector hasn't even faced a delivery of Kennedy yet. And he's shaping as to what he's going to do. All the fielders are up on the offside, so he's going to try and target that shorter boundary. Hits so nearly to mid-off. He's right on the edge of the circle, so he'll get through for a single. You can understand what Tector is going to look to do here, go through the offside predominantly.
Yes, exactly. The shorter boundary that way, and the wind potentially prevailing that way as well. So it is the option. Kennedy as well, with his natural turn, will be taking it away from the right-hander.
It's almost to mid-on, agonisingly short of Ross Allen. I think you can just get a good demonstration of how difficult it is to time the ball. Both those last 2 deliveries, both hit with no power or purpose.
Yeah, just seemingly sticking in the pitch a little bit, making it quite hard. It's just shown that at a certain length it seems to be quite nice to get through, but just at a good length it has been hard.
Switch hit from Tector has gone straight up in the air. Will Doheny be able to get to it? He will. Tector is going to fall for 3. He went for the full Kevin Peterson switch hit. The reason he was trying to do that is it's the shorter boundary of the ground. He was trying to hit with the spin, but it's ended up looping off a top edge, and Doheny has made good ground. It's the reverse hit, the kind of slog sweep as a left-hander, really. Not a shot you'd see too often in the coaching manual. Tector's gone for 3. The Warriors, they found the 3rd wicket in the power play. Are they going to go on and take the win, extend their lead at the top of the table?
You'd have to think they're well in the box seat now. Tector trying something different. He'll be disappointed again. Another small score for himself. He was trying to access that short offside boundary. It was an option that he has been able to perfect, certainly at club level of the years for YM. It is a shot he can play. Unfortunately, failing to execute this time round, and the Knights 3 down in the power play, and these wickets are just beginning to add up.
Yeah, real disappointment for Harry Tector. He had a poor weekend by his standards. 8, 3 and 13 with the bat. 8, 3 and 18 with the bat down in Pembroke, and he's followed it up with 3 here. It's more the manner of the dismissal that will disappoint him as much as anything.
Jeremy Lawler on strike. They did cross in the air there. So Mark Adair not on strike, the new man.
Big moment this for Mark Adair as well. Elevated up the order. No huge runs last weekend, but signs that he's coming back to his full form, that he's wants to show his all-round skills. Beautifully bowled. I think that was the arm ball from Kennedy.
Yeah, well, it's a massive opportunity for Adair. There's no reason why he couldn't play a William McClintock-esque innings. He's got the power, he's got the ability. We've seen it before. Lawler took that last ball from Graham Kennedy's over into the leg side for 1. An excellent over from Graham Kennedy. Just 3 runs from it and a wicket in the last over the power play. 6 gone. The Knights 41 for 3.
41 for 3, the game in the balance. Andrew, I'll bid you farewell for the moment. I'll pass you over to Peter Gillespie. He'll take you through the next 6 or 7 overs.
Yeah, welcome back to Peter Gillespie in the commentary box, and with your slightly biased Northwest hat on, you must be pretty happy with the situation of the game currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy Lawler showing really how it should be done. So very, very happy to pick up those 3 quick wickets, especially the big one of Paul Sterling, obviously. Not trying to be too disingenuous to the rest of the night's batting order, but to get him for 1 of 3 balls, it's huge, especially when you're in that in-between score. You know it's a good score, but you still have to bowl well to defend it. Jeremy Lawler's really taken up the mantle now. Powered some fantastic boundaries, and Craig Young over, and really got them off to a good start. So the 3 wickets have really dragged it back into us now, and we change with Ryan Macbeth coming on the ball from the pavilion end.
Yeah, Macbeth coming into the attack. Not in the squad down in Pembroke last weekend. Gets his opportunity today. To Jeremy Lawler, who's in a hard position here, where there's wickets falling around him. He's obviously batted with plenty of intent so far. As a batter in this situation, do you have to just keep going?
Yeah, I think they've obviously made a conscious decision to target the power play, target 2 men out, really try and up the boundary count in those first 6 overs.
A slight misfield from William Porterfield. That's a real collector's item. A misfield from himself down at long on it. Allows Lawler scamper back for 2.
Yeah, it's almost as if the Knights have really tried to get out ahead of the game and then make the rest of the chase easier, but obviously those 3 quick wickets have put the muckers slightly.
Catch him!
Yeah, top edge from Lawler, but it does land safe. Oh, but a chance here, and a direct hit from Graham Kennedy leaves Jeremy Lawler short of his mark. Brilliant fielding from Graham Kennedy on the turn there, short third man, and he's had a brilliant directed. A directed had to be to get Lawler out, and he's cut short of his ground.
Yeah, tremendous bit of fielding with Graham Kennedy. You have to feel unlucky for the bowler. It was a great delivery from Ryan Macbeth, and he spinned it straight up in the air and it dropped in no man's land, and coming back for the second, he was found wanting by a great throw from Kennedy, and that's another huge wicket for the Warriors. 44 for 4, and the game swung again.
Yeah, well, I think even to add further insult to injury for Jeremy Lawler, Rowley Black, who's standing at the pavilion end, has actually signalled 1 short. So I don't think he's actually got a single run for that. I think it is 43 for 4. Lawler looked good for his 28, but caught short by a seriously good piece of fielding. And how often have we seen in white ball format cricket now, how often a good piece of fielding can just change a game, and you feel that piece of play from Graham Kennedy potentially has won this game for the Northwest Warriors. They're certainly well and truly in the ascendancy now.
Well, winning the game remains to be seen, but definitely it's put them back on top again. It's been a bit of a roller coaster game so far. Boundaries seem to have come in clusters. When teams have been on top, they've been on top, but then it's swung so quickly. But yeah, fine margins it is, and I'm sure when you look back at the replay, he will be just short of his ground. A fantastic piece of fielding.
And brings Neil Rock to the crease. The left-hander, young wicketkeeper batsman.
From the Russ production line.
Indeed, 3 from that Rush production line on the pitch currently. Stephen Downey behind the stumps, and Nathan Maguire extra cover as well. I haven't seen too much of Ryan Macbeth myself, but seems to bowl a nice kind of back of a length delivery, a stock ball, would you say?
Yeah, he's been around the scene a few years now without actually really getting much of a chance. And he's a clever bowler. His stock ball is back of a length, hits the seam, but he's not afraid to use his variations, slower balls. And as I say, this is a big opportunity now for him. This is front and centre of a a proper run chase, and he's come in, and skipper's obviously entrusted him to do a job. It's a big opportunity.
It's been an excellent start, and be just wanting to get out of his first over without a boundary here, and will do so. Excellent over from Macbeth, just the 3 runs from it, and that wicket, the brilliant fielding from Graham Kennedy for that run out. 7 gone, the Northern Knights 44 for 4.
Yeah, that'll do Macbeth's confidence a lot of good. As you say, getting out of an over with 3 runs is fantastic. Getting out of an over without a boundary, even better. He was just glad to get the ball in his hand and get into the game. His first opportunity this year, as you say, he didn't go down to Dublin, so to come in and be entrusted so early from his captain, it's a huge pat in the back from him.
Exactly, we're going to see another change in bowling. Andy McBride going to bring himself back into the attack, probably more of a situational play than anything. Kennedy would have been bowling, ball spinning into Neil Rock, who just liked the slog sweep as well. It's a short boundary out there, McBride spinning the ball away instead. Just good running from Mark Adair. There was a hint of hesitation there between the two to get through for a comfortable single.
Yeah, he's got 2 left arm spinners at his disposal, and he's going to have to use them very cleverly because the ground is predominantly one-sided today, so Andy's going to have to keep his thinking cap on, and I think you're going to see the game evolve over by over. If Mark Adair's another man capable of clearing the ropes.
Sneaking down the leg side there from Andy McBride. Yeah, I'd say Mark Adair hasn't been overly happy with maybe the weight of runs he scored for the Knights recently. He's an excellent batter with plenty of ability. We know the runs should be there, but no better opportunity than these T20 festivals to get yourself into good nick and score a few runs.
Yeah, he's one of those batsmen you feel if he bats for 40 minutes, he can do some real damage. He can bring a team back into the game. He can take the game away from the opposition.
Yeah, good call from Neil Rock there to get through and gets Adair off the mark.
And then McBride using the old spinner's trick of trying to rush through his balls, trying to hurry the batsmen a bit, give them no time to settle. Really trying to put the squeeze on the Knights here.
We've seen that a few times today so far. That slightly back of a length ball from the spinner that spins big.
Just grips and lips. Very difficult to score.
That one just sliding on a little bit more with the arm. Another very tight over from Andy McBride, just the 3 from it. And gets through them in jig speed as well. 8 gone, the Knights 47 for 4, and as you can see on your screen, that required run rate up to 9.5. So very hard position for these 2 batters. You obviously lost 4 wickets in the first 8 overs, not as many wickets in hand as you'd like, but you still need to be going at that 8-9 run and over mark to make sure that that doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah, I think we've seen from the Manhattan in the first innings how difficult it is to get above that 10 and over rate. And when it did happen in the Warriors innings, it happened in small parts. You know, the Knights have been asked to do this now almost for the guts of 12 overs really, and that's a big ask, and squeezing another couple of tight overs in here, that's really going to put huge pressure on the incoming batsmen. You feel there's a moment here where something has to happen for the Knights.
Adair slashing that one out to deep cover. You'd have to think that the Knights are going to have to try and target a few overs and even try to register a couple of overs that go for maybe 12 or 13, get that required run rate back down into the 8s potentially.
Yeah, And
Good turf.
and two guys at the crease at the moment who will be hoping for a big score. And as you say, if Mark Adair and Lee Rock the same, probably haven't got the weight of runs that they would have wanted as yet. So it's an opportunity. It's a challenge, but it's an opportunity for both guys.
Yeah, but it's hard at the moment. It's tricky conditions out there. And Ryan Macbeth is not allowing any freebies whatsoever.
He is bowling length, which has been dangerous on this pitch to other bowlers, but he bowls slightly lower, slightly skiddier, so you might find it a bit more difficult to get underneath.
It's a good piece of fielding from Ross Allen with extra cover. That was absolutely belted at him.
You find the middle of the bat there. I think it's one of those shots that if it hadn't hit the fielder, it would have been 4 runs.
Yeah, exactly.
Slightly unlucky there from Mark Adair.
Yeah, not one you really want to be fielding at extra cover, those ones.
Not on a day like this, no, Andrew.
Adair, target straight. That's a big 6 from Mark Adair. It was in the slot from Macbeth again. That slightly more floaty slot length has gone all day today. It brings up the Northern Knights 50, and Mark Adair is going to have to hit a few more of these if the Knights are going to get close.
Yeah, you can see the slight difference in length there. He's just pushed it slightly fuller, and as you say, as a result it floated, and Mark Adair capitalised as you'd expect him to do and got a maximum. Let's put the pressure back on Macbeth.
And he's gone for the slower ball. Oh, and Porterfield's put it down. He's put it down at long on. It was a tough chance running in. It's good skills from Macbeth going to his slower ball. Adair didn't time it at all. But Porterfield's put down a big opportunity.
Yeah, the slower ball worked there. He just got it slightly higher in the middle, and William Porterfield, a collector's item there again. It was a difficult chance, but it's one that he would be expecting to take, and we'll have to ask how crucial that will be.
56 for 4 after 9 overs tonight. Myself and Peter are going to exit stage left for a few overs, and Andrew Leonard's going to be joined by a special guest.
Yeah, thank you, gents. And special guest is a man we just saw on camera, Mr. Odrin Dunn, the CEO of Visit Derry, just having a few photographs taken. You're very welcome, and glad to have you joining us here in the commentary position.
Great to see you, and welcome to Bready, and welcome to the walled city of Derry.
Yeah, what a special place, the northwest of Ireland. Tell us a little bit about Visit Derry and the tourism campaign to get more and more people up to the northwest.
Yeah, so our role really is as the official tourism organisation for the city of Derry and the wider region. So I think we are a unique historic walled city located in the beautiful northwest corner of the island, and it's our geographical location, as you can see from today, that sets us apart and creates a sort of unique advantage for the place for visitors to want to come and experience it. Our location is unique in that we're the meeting point of the Wild Atlantic Way and the Causa Coastal Route, which was 2 iconic international coastal driving routes. So perfect for those coming to the island and looking to travel around, and also a great base, obviously, to explore all the highlights that we have on offer here.
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes south of Derry city centre. It's a city that's had a huge rejuvenation in the last sort of 5 to 10 years in particular. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, we're a very historic city, but we're really renowned internationally as a cultural city, as the first ever UK city of culture. And also we've used our events as big hooks to attract people to the destination. So some of our big international events are Derry Halloween, and if you haven't been to Derry for Halloween, you should come. It is Ireland's biggest Halloween carnival, and we've actually won an international award as the best Halloween festival in Ireland.
Pulled away into the deep by Adair and well fielded out there. Exactly a run of ball at the moment. The Knights are going. They need to get going though. That required run rate for the first time in the match just going above 10 and over. So big task for the Knights from here. it's a city that's famous for its walls, its culture, but specifically its hospitality. Why is that? Why is the welcome just so special up here in the Northwest?
Yeah, well, undoubtedly that's the feedback from the people that come and visit us. It's very hard to sell that. We are a very welcome and hospitable place. People just love to talk, and I think that's a unique selling point. And in today's world, people want to engage with you. People want to tell you a story. People want to listen to your story, and I think that's what people take away from the place when they come and visit. They feel that they have connected with the place, and they're getting great engagement from people and learning a lot about the place.
10 overs gone in the chase, the halfway stage of the chase. 101 to win for the Northwest Knights in this, the first game of the second IP20 festival. I'm talking to Mr. Adrian Dunn, the CEO of Visit Derry. Your involvement in cricket, it was due to be for a series that never happened due to COVID, but it's been extended now out to the Zimbabwe series. 3 T20s at this very ground later in the year. You're really looking forward to having the men come up and visit from Africa.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be a great week here in August. We're trying to work on making sure you have the weather for it, obviously. Leave that with us. Hopefully you'll see the sky shining next time you're back. But yeah, delighted to see Zimbabwe come to the city and region in the middle of August. It'll be fantastic just for the profile of the city, and hopefully the viewers will enjoy what they see and take away, and hopefully the next, if they ever come to Ireland, that they'll see that this is a place that they want to come and experience.
Craig Young back into the attack. He'll be one of those men representing Ireland in that Zimbabwe series. Down the track, Neil Rock launches one into the sky, one of the shots of the day. He hasn't tried to overhit that at all, just a hop, a skip and a jump. A massive six smashed down the ground by the left-hander. This is as good a cricket shot as you're going to see. Adrian, what about this?
Fantastic.
Not a huge cricket fan yourself originally, but getting more and more into the game here.
Yeah. All my family live in Australia, and they are big cricket fans, so I'm sure they're probably watching this. Say hello to them all in Sydney, and but yeah, a lot of the family play cricket. Hasn't got to me, unfortunately, but maybe now after watching this.
Yeah, look at that for a shot. I think you'd be a bit of a left-handed dasher yourself, would you?
Yeah, I'm left-handed.
I could just tell from the way you set up. New balls please is the call. And Rowley Black just making sure. You can see in the background there the Leinster Lightning just arriving in. They've made the drive up, the team bus from Dublin. And you can see Rory Anders there, Lorcan Tucker, George Dockrell, the captain, Tim Tector looking a little cold. The weather in the northwest can be a bit unpredictable. We had a huge amount of rain yesterday, but we had a lovely couple of weeks just before that, didn't we?
Yeah, well, as you know, Andrew, not too many people come to Ireland for the weather, thankfully. They're coming for other experiences, but you never know. The weather is good many a day here. So,
what are some of those other experiences, the cultural highlights of Derry in particular?
Yeah, well, really for us it's about the bars and the restaurant, the social scene, people being able to get out, have a good pint of Guinness, enjoy the great food. We're renowned for our food and hospitality, and we've a lot of recent success, particularly around screen tourism, and the Derry Girls has brought us a lot of publicity internationally as more people have more time to spend on their devices and at home. They've gone to Netflix, and it's been really, really popular.
Hugely popular show. It's brought the eyeballs of the world onto Derry for all the right reasons. A slower ball from Craig Young, beautifully bowled. I think that was the leg cutter, and it beats Adair through to the keeper. And it's not just the city itself and all the attractions there, but it's a fantastic place to base yourself, whether you're going up to Donegal or up to the Causeway Coast perhaps as well.
Yeah, as I said, it's just our unique location. We're the meeting point of where the Wild Atlantic Way meets the Causeway coastal route, so within a matter of minutes and a few miles drive you can be in the beautiful hills of Donegal. We're here located at the foothills of the Sperrin Mountains if you want to get outdoors and enjoy walking or cycling. And then the Causeway Coast, the UNESCO Heritage Site, is only an hour's drive away as well, so there's a great range of outdoor activities, and given the current pandemic, we have a great base, small city, but we have a wider social appeal and geographic appeal because of our outdoor offering.
Yeah, it really is a special place. If you've never been here, I would implore you. I'm not just saying this because I've got the CEO of Visit Derry next to me. It's a really special place, as the wide Yorker is punished into the offside by Adair. Good work in the deep, but there'll be plenty of time to get back for two. There's something about the place, it gets under your skin, the Northwest, and the hospitality is legendary for a reason. There's been a big food scene develop here in recent years as well, some Michelin star restaurants and just a great gastronomic cuisine to Derry.
Yeah, and that's come from a lot of local food producers because of our natural location. Well, that's beef or cheese, and so that's replicated in the local food provenance and in the menus. And we've launched a legendary food brand which sits well with a lot of the restaurants, and that has been a big part of our success over the last particularly number of years. And we actually were awarded Destination Delicious in Northern Ireland a few years ago. So
Destination Delicious.
There you go.
I like the sound of that. I'm not exactly sure what that is. 11 overs gone, the score 70 for 4. How difficult has it been through the COVID pandemic, though? Particularly, I'd say last year very tough, but some good stuff coming back with the staycations and lots of probably more Irish and English people are the tourists coming in rather than perhaps the Americans or the Europeans at the moment.
Yeah, it's undoubtedly, it's a global pandemic. It's been impacted us nationally and locally here as well, and we're all trying to get through it. We're focused on the staycation market, so obviously a lot of people within particularly the south of Ireland, across Northern Ireland, coming to Derry, and a lot of people would have had Derry on their bucket list to maybe I'll do that sometime, but not quite now. And that's changing as people are restricted in travel and leaving the island. So we're seeing a big pick up from a lot of the different parts of the south.
And would this traditionally be the people who might be taking their holidays down in Spain, heading down to Portugal, the Costa del Sol or something, and they're saying, no, actually, we can't go right now. Derry's on the bucket list, let's get up there to the northwest.
Yeah, and they're taking a week's holiday out of it and exploring the wider northwest and what the city and wider region has to offer, and that's played really into our hands because it was a tough market to get into and attract people up because they see it quite similar to other parts of Ireland, but when they arrive here, they see that it is really different and unique. It's back to that hospitality and that people engagement and the food and everything else that comes with it.
We've got viewers from all over the world listening in here. Phenomenal numbers, 10,000 concurrent viewers enjoying the action in what looks like it's going to be a thrilling game. 90 to win, off 53 as we see the left arm spin of Ross Allen come into the attack. I want to ask you a couple of little insider secrets. Give me one or two little nuggets of gold that nobody might know, and why would you bring them to Derry? What are those little things that people might not have heard of?
Yeah, I think obviously you're coming for a big part of the experience, and just once you come to the city and region, you'll find the hospitality is our big selling point, and the people and that sort of engagement that you get. So we look forward to welcome people and coming and experiencing that for themselves. But I suppose for having a pint in one of the local bars has to be one of the highlights. Maybe Badgers or Pat O'Donnell's, and then maybe a beer experience with the Walled City Brewery, which is quite new. So I put that on your bucket list as well.
You might not know this, but there's a phrase, cricket badger, and that's someone who's absolutely obsessed with cricket. They badger out all the information. Badgers is a pub in Derry City.
It is, yeah. One of the finest pints of Guinness you'll find there as well.
Okay, well that could be on the bucket list for me this weekend as we see Adair attempt the switch hit. Disappointed with himself, you can see wincing in anger. I think that one may be coming off the glove, that's why we've seen it given as runs. Allen staying over the wicket to the left-hander. You'll see Rock target the shorter boundary of the ground here, the leg side. Look for the big hit there with the wind, of course, as well. And that's why he's hung it outside the off stump and been hit straight down the ground. Really good work in the deep. You've seen him pull off an outstanding run out, Graham Kennedy. That's fantastic fielding. Superb athleticism on show. Looks like the Northwest Warriors probably on top right now, Audrin.
Yeah, they're looking good. Let's hope that they convert for us.
That one is heaved into the leg side. That's the shorter boundary you're going to target. Watch out in the crowd. It's bounced off the asphalt. That's a mighty 6 all the way. The game is in the balance again. A great little hand this from Neil Rock. Another super shot from the left-hander. What do you think of this one?
Fantastic hit. Is that my car?
I hope that's not your car up that way. Odrin, I thank you hugely for joining us live on air. We wish you well with all your activities, particularly with tourism getting going again, and we thank you for your support of the Ireland-Zimbabwe series.
Thanks very much, and we look forward to welcoming you all in August up to the city and Bready for the match.
You're a gent. Thanks
Cheers.
So much.
Thank you.
That's Mr. Odrin Dunn, the CEO of Visit Derry, hearing all his thoughts about what a special place this is here in the Northwest. And I'm not just saying this, he's actually out of my earshot now, he can't hear me anymore. I assure you, if you do come up to the Northwest, you will not be disappointed. A very, very special corner of the world. And that's where we are for game 1 in the second festival, the IP festival. Peter, I'm just listening to all the thoughts of why you should come to the Northwest. I know you're from here, you're a bit biased, but it really is a special part of the world.
That is. When you get the weather, no. In all seriousness, it is a fantastic place to come and visit, come watch cricket, come play cricket.
Graham Hume back into the attack. Adair squeezes that away over the offside, off the outside edge. Just as you were off call as well, Peter. This little innings from Rock, just turning the game a bit. Is it coming back into the balance a touch?
It is, and it's been symptomatic of how the match has gone so far. It has ebbed and flowed between both teams. It only takes a couple of boundaries here and there, but that run rate is still up there. And Rock's trying his best to keep it in check.
The required run rate is still up there, 10 and over.
Yes.
So they've got to work with Hume coming around the wicket now to the left-hander. Pulled into the leg side. Rock, who has struggled a touch, not with the gloves, he's been really impressive with the gloves throughout the IP50, but maybe as much as anything with the bat, he struggled for opportunity. Seems to have been freed a little bit by the T20 format.
Yes, it's the same with his former clubmate Doheny. Unusual to see two wicketkeeper batsmen coming out of the same club, vying for the same spot in the club team, provincial team, and then moving to different provinces. But he's in need of an innings like this. He's in need of an opportunity.
Hit over the offside. Going to be work to do in the deep for Shane Getgate. The call is 1-1-1. It's going to be a lot more than 1. It'll definitely be 2. They won't quite get back for 3. A really powerful arm from the deep. Fine fielding from Getgate.
Yeah, he's really reined that in there. I think he's saved comfortably 2. And this is a partnership that the Knights have needed desperately. You know, they've fits and starts in this inning so far. These two guys seem to have got the grips of conditions and just building nicely.
Really good execution from Graham Hume right into the block hole. Adair doesn't look like he's found it easy on this wicket, despite the fancy footwear, the bright orange trainers. What do you think of those, Peter?
Not in my day. I know a few senior players dressing rooms gone by that would have had choice words to say about flashiness, but such is the modern way.
He's a flamboyant player, Mark Adair, a talented one as well, but he's just found it a little tricky to get going. Over the offside, kind of every time it just looks like he hasn't been able to get any sense of rhythm to this innings.
I would agree, but at the same time, he's enabled Rock to bat the way he has. They formed a good partnership. Sometimes in a partnership, it's just about playing an anchor role, supportive. You know, they lost 4 quick wickets there. They had to put the brakes on somehow, and he supported Rock nicely here. So, although he's not doing the job, maybe the job he would like to do, he's doing a job.
Over 10 and over required now, though. 75 to win off 42. Let's have a look at the bowling figures, because there's going to be some interesting options here. That solitary over of Ross Allen Expensive going for 11. 2 good overs of Seam from Macbeth. Why have we only seen 1 over of Graham Kennedy so far?
Match situation, conditions. You know, there's a strong breeze. You have a left-hander in at the wicket. You have a strong breeze blowing against the ground to the short end. You have to really think, you know, where's the best end? What's the best option from each end? Over by over almost. And Andy's, I think, marshalled the bowlers quite well so far. He's brought himself on in little small periods.
And is that why we're seeing McBride come on here? Much larger boundary to the leg side, the right-hander on strike. But even if the left-hander gets on strike, he'll be hitting against the spin at least.
Absolutely. Smart thinking.
Just a little pause, just for a moment. We used to see Andrew White do that a lot in his gather for Ireland. Not as extravagant as that, but just a slight pause for a second, and Adair's happy to punch it into the leg side for 2.
And Andy's not a bowler to give you natural flight like possibly the 2 left armers are. He does skid it on a bit more. He does bowl slightly flatter, and when conditions dictate, such as this. Yeah,
really flat, almost speared in, isn't it? There's nothing to work with there. McBride gets across and fields himself.
I think Mark Adair will be thinking, should I play him almost as a seamer? You know, he does have the ability to bowl that big turning ball that sticks.
What do you mean by that, Peter? Play him almost as a seamer?
Because he's bowling so flat, and you know, just almost take the spin option out of it. Say he's not going to turn it much, so you know, I'm comfortable moving down the ground, hitting, you know, out of my crease. But to date, he's happy to sit back on his stumps and punch him around. So he obviously doesn't feel like the time to go is just here yet.
How long can you wait? And I suppose this is why it was such a critical over for McBride. He's thinking that if he can get away, get through this over without being hit for a boundary, a little bit like we saw with Adil Rashid, not hit for a boundary in the 2 T20s, Sri Lanka against England, it just puts the pressure, brings that required run rate even further and further into play.
Yeah, it is a tough ask.
Flatter again, big appeal and given. Adair cannot believe it, but he's been trapped in front. McBride was absolutely certain, and the only question he'll really have had to answer was, did Adair get too far down the wicket? Difficult to tell always from the reversed angle. Certainly looked pretty adjacent, Peter.
Yeah, I don't think it was going to turn much. I think it's hit him. Looks as if it's hit him in line with off, and don't think it was going to deviate too much down the leg side. The question I would have to ask Lenny is, you know, that was a high percentage risk shot there. Was it the shot that he really needed to play to someone like Andy? I know he's coming on with a bit of pace. He didn't seem as if he was looking to play a full-on reverse sweep. It seemed more like a reverse lap. Was that the right choice at this stage? You know, it's options really. What's his game plan?
Adair falls for 23 from 28 deliveries, just a solitary boundary, which was a 6 in that innings. And yeah, the biggest part of the question you're asking there, Peter, is particularly with 2 balls left of McBride's spell. He's their star bowler, their most effective, their most efficient bowler. Do you not just try and punch 2 simple singles and then really go after the 5th, 6th bowlers of the Warriors?
Absolutely. I think he did choose the wrong option there. I think down the ground, just moving things around, it's probably the better play.
Rion Pretorius in at number 7 for the Northern Knights. And that gets us to the end of the 14th over. It's going to be 70 to win from 36 deliveries that remain. The Warriors, for me, Peter, they've been really impressive. Not just today, but throughout their entire T20 campaign so far.
They have. I was speaking to the coach, Gary Wilson, there, and I was telling him he was getting a lot of support for his new brand. As we see Get coming into the attack from the pavilion end.
It's the 7th bowler to be used, Peter. Is this a change in tactic? Are we not going to see Ross Allen again?
Possibly not. I think while Neil Rock's at the crease, I think he's a dangerous option. He's already seen what he can do hitting straight down the ground. So he's obviously turned to Get who hasn't got a lot of bowling, but he is an experienced bowler, but he hasn't got a lot of bowling. Obviously trust him to come on in this situation and do a job for the team.
Yeah, Getgate's been expensive when he has been used, though, so maybe just a chance. You can see with Brian, I thought you described it really well, what point of the game is at, and that is modern 2020 cricket, isn't it?
It is modern 2020 cricket. A lot of decisions made on the fly.
As a bowler, you just have to be ready. It's not like the old days where you'd be given your 6 deliveries to warm up prior and you've got room for a loosener. You've got to be ready to go from the first ball of your spell, just like Getgate is here in the 15th over of the innings.
And I think a lot of these guys know that now. You know, they're very, very aware of modern cricket. Shane's obviously got the nod. Maybe not too long ago he's come in, he's delivered a slower ball, back of a length first ball. He's on the money. So that can tell you for himself how ready these guys are.
Remember, this is essentially a shootout to go to the top of the table. If the Knights can get over the line, they'll move past the Northwest Warriors. They would advance to 12 points. Go above the Northwest Warriors, who are currently on 9, but the Warriors looking to extend their advantage at the top of the table. And that is tennis ball bounce there, to say the least. Almost a serve from Neil Rock into the leg side.
Yeah, it was a slower ball. I think we've come a long way from the first match of last week's festival, where the Northwest really put the Knights to the sword. They won that game quite comfortably, and when you can see these are two teams now that are top of their game.
Quite comfortably.
Quite comfortably.
Chased it in 11 overs, Peter.
Yeah.
I think it's about as comfortable a T20 win as you can ever imagine.
It was the only bonus point victory of the weekend, so yeah.
There was actually two. The Leinster Lightning
yeah,
did get the bonus point against the Munster Reds in the first game.
I don't want to brag too much. You know, there's still a long weekend and still another festival to go. So just quite happy where my team's sitting at this position of the proceedings.
Peter Gillespie, a staunch Northwest Warriors supporter as always. Good work from McBrien in the deep. Nice to see some sunshine coming across the ground as well. It is quite cold and blustery without it.
It's bathed in sunshine, Lenny.
Bathed.
I haven't had too many games here at Bready myself where you've played in full sunshine for the full match. You do get the full range of weather up here, but when it's out like this, it's beautiful.
Explain to our viewers at home, this is the new Bready ground, of course. There was an older ground, but this has been very much cut into the side of a hill. Beautiful views across to Donegal as well.
Yeah, the old ground just sits behind us, and it was a big move, a bold move to come up here and build what essentially as a complex. They play soccer in the winter up in the top pitch. They play cricket during the summer. There was possibility of a hockey pitch there, but they have a fantastic international standard ground here now with facilities to match, and the club's really thriving because of it.
Hit down towards Andy McBrien. He'll have work to do. Brilliant from him. Watch that so carefully just on the bounce. Yeah, and it's not just the outdoor facilities, some great indoor lanes as we get to the end of the 15th over. In fact, one ball to come because of the wide.
Yeah, and it's been a good over so far. He's really kept them in check. The indoor facilities are fantastic, on a par with North County, where a lot of the indoor training would have been done previously back in my day. So
another change up from Getgate, and the seventh bowler has worked, and it certainly worked in terms of keeping things under control for the Northwest Warriors. 6 singles and the wide coming from it, so 7 off the over, 15 gone, 98 for 5.
Yeah, Warriors really trying to turn the screw here on the Knights, just giving them absolutely nothing in that hitting zone. Getgate, a very intelligent over there, used his variations of pace well, kept the ball back as far as he could, and I think it's really just putting another nail into the coffin as we see a change again from the Mason Road end. Ryan Macbeth comes back on, affectionately known as Turf.
2 overs, none for 12 for Macbeth so far. Tell us a bit about him in terms of his performances in club cricket in recent years.
Well, he comes from a good cricketing pedigree. The Macbeth family from St Johnson, they have family ties through Roy Torrance to Brigade, and then a few years back he decided to further his career. He was going to move from St Johnson, who were at that stage predominantly playing championship cricket. He moved to Brigade in the hope of progressing his Warriors career, and that's proved to be the case. He's played with some very, very experienced cricketers there at Brigade, Johnny Thompson, Andrew Britton, and it's definitely helped his game. It's improved in the last couple of years. It certainly his bowling, his back of a length hits the deck, and as you've seen earlier, he uses his variations when he needs to. But he's really progressed, and he's stepping up to the mark here so far today.
Yeah, one of those variations I think on offer there. Not express pace by any stretch of the imagination.
No, he's not. He does hit the deck, but not at anywhere near the pace that some of these guys would be used to. So maybe that's working to his advantage. And then when he bowls the slower ball, it is a lot slower again.
Of course, he'll have the protection for the right-hander on strike with the big leg side boundary, and it'll be the same plan again for the Warriors. If they can get through the over without conceding boundaries, that's all they need right now, and they nearly get more than that because it loops off a leading edge. That was the full pace delivery from Macbeth, and I think it just surprised Pretorius a little.
Yeah, just held in the pitch there slightly. He turned his bat a bit quicker than he thought, and lucky for him, the leading edge dropped safely. But as you rightly said, Lenny, every over now without a boundary is really, really a big feather in the cap of the Warriors.
Goes outside the off stump, and that's really good bowling. The reason he's doing that is it's probably no more than a 45-yard, 50-yard hit to the leg side for the left-hander. So he's hanging it out towards the wide line on the offside. Rock can't get it away.
Which we've seen Georgeson do very well for the for the Knights. You got to play your percentages now, Lenny. Keep the safe option. Take it away from the short boundary. Make them hit where you want them to hit.
Grunt of aggression from Macbeth upon the release. They will get 2 because with the bigger boundary on the leg side, and the errant throw from Getgate, that was risky. Could have been big overthrows, but Doheny gets a glove on it.
You see a lot of this in modern T20 cricket. Guys out in the boundary on the big side, if anything drops just a run around the disc area, the immediate call is 2. They're so tuned in that they're gone, and it's comfortable in the end.
Knights need more than 2 a ball though at the moment. Just strays down the leg side this time. That was probably the delivery he was looking to for the left-hander. Searching for the into the pads, the leg stump block hole Yorker there.
Yeah. He's gone like a lot of the Knights bowlers. He's favouring the full option. He's not trusting bowling length on this wicket.
Finds that block hole that he was looking for, and are we going to see a run out? We're not. I thought he was going to go with the Sam Curran option and take the right boot in it and try and kick it onto the stumps, but he's athletically gone for the pick up and dive. A big smile from Macbeth. We love to see that.
I think
the photographer in the background just checking, was that going to be out? I think it was.
I think he knew he was well ahead of the batsman there. He probably actually maybe could have picked it up and ran a bit closer to the stumps. As you say, the boot was an option, but as it is, Pretorius remains at the crease. But another dot. The run rate goes up again.
It's T20 debut today for Macbeth. 2 first-class games and 1 List A game prior to today. Having a fine T20 debut. It's really good bowling. Great over because 7 runs coming from it. It's not going to be enough. Leaves the equation at 56 to win from 24 deliveries remaining. Could have an interesting decision for the player of the match. I'm going to go out and get my thinking cap on for that. I'll leave you with Andrew Blair-White for what could yet be a thrilling finish. Peter.
Thank you very much, Lenny. You're right, you have a bit of thinking to do there on the player of the match. Warriors firmly on top here, as Lenny said. 56 required off 24 deliveries, as we see another change at the pavilion end. Craig Young comes back into the attack, and Andrew Blair-White has joined me now. Andrew. Oh, it's Shane Getgate, my apologies. Andrew, how do you find the situation?
The Northern Knights well up against it. You have to think these 2 overs from this end of the ground are going to have to go the distance if they're going to have a chance from here. 56 from just 4 overs. Pretorius has struggled to just get going. It's been a hard pitch though.
It's really not the type of pitch or conditions where you can just come into the crease and just pick it up from ball 1. You know, you've seen a lot of the guys who have got going today have taken their time to get in. And an excellent delivery there from Getgate. He's gone wide and full. Left Pretorius swinging widely, and a dot ball pushes things further towards the Warriors.
Yeah, it's excellent bowling from Getgate there. It is outside that wide line, but Pretorius is shimmying over a little bit. But he's got one out of the screws this time. Getgate that could well have endangered a car there, I suspect, because that has gone straight in the front window. I don't know whether there was a crash or not, but Nathan Maguire had his hands on his head.
And as we've seen consistently throughout this match, length ball is the ball to target. And you can't afford to miss out on anything now at this stage of the game, such as the run rate required.
Good blow from Pretorius. That's a good catch from Ross Allen. That extra cover.
Really good
Shane
catch,
Getgate. Good bowling from him, targeting that wide Fuller delivery. Pretorius trying to flay this one away over the offside, but Rosson's taking a very good catch.
Wide was slight understatement there, was almost off the wicket, Andrew. Very intelligent bit of bowling there from Gekke. He's obviously kept his eye on the batsman the whole way throughout the delivery. Pretorius moved very, very early and very wide, and he just simply followed him, kept it out there, and he slapped it straight to Rosson. The covers took a good catch, and another wicket falls for the Knights.
I think that ball almost pitched outside the cut strip from Shane Gekke.
I think where he hit it was certainly outside the cut strip.
But it brings Ross Adair to the crease, and if ever there was a man to perform a minor miracle for the Northern Knights, it might well just be Ross Adair. He can hit a fierce blow. It's going to be a big ask from here. 50 required for the Knights from just 21 deliveries. But the only good thing is, with a right-left hand combination, you are constantly going to be able to hit to a short boundary.
Yeah, and they're going to need to maximise every one of these 21 remaining deliveries if they're going to get anywhere near this target.
Sliced away off the outside edge from Adair there. Unfortunately, doesn't have the chance to see himself in here for a few balls.
Straight away showing his intent. He's not going to hang around here. He's not going to die wandering. But it's been a good comeback from Shane Gekke after being put under a bit of pressure with that 6. He's taken a wicket and he's gone for a single.
That's well bowled from Gekke. Very short to Rock there, not giving him any chance to go straight, which is probably the option that Rock wants. It's a massive leg side boundary. Would that be a wide if
you'd almost think leaving that would be a wide, but it's so slow, and then the instinct takes over from the batsman that they play a shot at it. If they can get close to it, then they'll take a chance at it.
Flayed away from Ross Adair. Looks like it's just going to be another single though. That's another good over for the Northwest Warriors. Just 9 from it from Shane Gekke, and that wicket of Pretorius. 47 required from 3 overs for the Northern Knights. Nearly 16 and over now.
Yeah, and I think, as you said earlier, a minor miracle is the best way to describe what's needed from here on in for the Knights. Nothing's impossible, but I think definitely improbable.
Definitely, especially when you're seeing Craig Young coming back into the attack from the Mason Road end of the ground. Very hard to know. Ross Adair here is going to probably have to try and target straight, maybe over extra cover.
Yeah, it seems like the sensible, the smart play. But it's such, you say 16 and over, it's such an astronomical run rate in difficult conditions. But Andy McBride taking no chances. He's taking his time getting his field set. He's obviously judging by the field that's been set. He looks as if he's going to target full leg stump. Don't think he's going to see much width outside the off stump here now. He still has to be on the money.
Adair has flayed it away over backward point, and it's 6. And it's an I think it was almost an unbelievable catch out there, but I think what he has done has meant that his windscreen hasn't been hit. Adair flying one over backward point for 6, keeping the Knights in the game.
Yeah, I think Craig Young just missed his line there. I think it was possibly a bit more offside than he wanted it to, but great improvisation from Ross Adair. He really got his hands through the shot, opened up to that short boundary and got the maximum benefit.
And he's done it again here. Is this going to go all the way? One bounce this time round. Ross Adair giving the Northern Knights a squeak here. Is there still life left in this game?
Craig Young's missed the mark twice here now. As you can see, he's definitely given Ross Adair far too much width. He's quite happy to put his hands through it. He's got 10 of 2 balls, has really put the pressure on Craig Young here.
He goes again, slower ball, but it's over backward point. They won't come back for 2 there. Slower delivery, probably the better option from Craig Young.
We're reliably informed that the stop from the car window was Ben Johnson, who is Roy Torrance's grandson. So obviously cricket and genes run strong there, or maybe it was an instinction of protecting the car windscreen or the bonnet.
Well, certainly I think a car bill has been saved by that, for that play. It's a no ball being called by Rowley Black. That's square leg there. That's for over hip high. I don't think the Northwest Warriors were overly pleased by that decision. Seemed to be on a downward trajectory by the time it got to Rock.
Such a hard call for the umpire. You're having to judge that in real time when it's dipping so quickly. Is it over waist height when it goes by? But we have a free hit here.
And Rock has hit it over square leg. That's 6 more. This is turning into an absolute blockbuster here. Neil Rock has put the second 6 of the over to this small boundary. Good batting for the Northern Knights. They're targeting this short boundary, and Craig Young, he's missing his line and length there.
He's really been put under pressure here. This is the over that the Knights wanted. This is the over the Knights needed. When you get a free hit and you get to dispatch it for the maximum, you get full benefit from it. Craig Young under pressure here now. He's going to have to come back strong.
It's a dot ball. Neil Rock trying to improvise there with a little scoop shot over fine leg. 29 off 13. They've gotten their 16 runs and over for this over. It just becomes possible again for the Knights, especially if Rock was to find a boundary off this final delivery.
It's the only consolation for the Warriors is they need to do this again the next over and the following over, which is going to be a difficult task, but they're certainly giving themselves every opportunity.
That's a huge shot from Neil Rock. That's up onto the upper mound here in Bready. He is absolutely cannon that off the middle of the bat. He moves on to 40. The Northern Knights not done with yet. 23 from 12 deliveries required.
Yeah, that was a huge over for the Knights. Really the big over that they've been looking for a while now. Craig Young at no stage in that over looked comfortable, looked as if he was hitting his mark. And he's been dispatched for over 20s. 24 in fact. And I think that it's swung the balance of the game firmly back. Again, 23 needed off 12 balls. And Graham Hume comes back from the pavilion end. They've been looking for the miserly Graham Hume, as Alan Lewis calls him, to really do the job.
Yeah, having a look at those.
Question is now who's going to step up for the Warriors in the last over. If Graham Hume keeps this tight here, that's going to be a big ask from the Mason Road end.
Yeah, you'd think it's probably going to be Shane Getgate or Ryan Macbeth. Big pressure on Hume. Almost gets a stop in there. Manages to squeak it through for a single Rossadair. Yeah, you'd have to think based off that it would be maybe Shane Getgate as being the more experienced option to bowl that last over. But Craig Young gone for 52 runs in his 4 overs. We've seen a few collector's items. William Porterfield with a drop catch. Now Craig Young going for 52.
Yeah, it's not the result the captain would have wanted from his four overs.
Rock, the immediate call is 2, and he's going to get it as well. Easily on the leg side. Neil Rock playing a smashing little innings. We commented that he probably hasn't scored the weight of runs he would have wanted for the Northern Knights in the last year or two. But this could potentially be one of the best innings we've seen all year if he brings the Knights over the line.
Yeah, I think this is the innings that we all knew that he could play. We're hoping that we could see him play. He's certainly delivering today for the Knights so far.
Shovelled into the leg side from Rock again. The call is 2, but they won't be able this time round. It's good bowling from Hume, in against the body.
If you're a bowler and you're bowling from the Mason Road end, Rock's on strike to the short boundary, what kind of target would you like to see from the last 6 balls? What would you feel comfortable defending?
You'd probably want 12 or 13 on the board, really.
Well, there was 3 sixes in that last over from the short end.
Exactly. Hume to Adair.
So you would know that.
And that's just inside.
Definitely anything below 20 is gettable.
Indeed it is.
If you miss your mark at all, it's gone. But Graham Hume's doing a sterling job here so far.
Yeah, superb from Hume. This just inside. Probably on that wide line. Rolly Black giving the bowler the benefit of the doubt. Hume's been excellent so far in this over. Just 4 from it. From 4 deliveries. One big blow though can change the momentum very quickly. He's not getting away with this one though. Swing and a miss from Ross Adair, but Rolly Black not giving him 2 in a row.
You can see his intent. You can see what he's trying to do. He's really trying to take that short boundary out of the equation. He's going full and wide. He's dicing with that wide ball line. He got away with one previously, but not this time.
You can also see Ross Adair's plan. He's planting that front leg. He wants to hit this pavilion bound, that kind of wide long on area. Drilled that through the offside, but it's just going to be 1. It's excellent from Hume again. And again this game changes, the momentum of this game changes. 17 now off 7 required.
I think this is the beauty of T20 cricket. It's never over. You're always in the game. It only takes 1 big over to really bring you back. Knights are setting us up for a grandstand finish here in the last over. 1 ball remaining in this over. Rock on strike. You'd like to think that Rock could be trying to get himself on strike. He would fancy, after that last over, he'd fancy 16. Anything a 1 or a 3 here, get him on strike. Or will he back his partner?
Yeah, well, certainly you'd want a 1 or potentially a boundary to get that down to 13 or 11. Rock takes the option of the single. He's got a big chance here to be a real hero for the Northern Knights. A great over from Graham Hume at a time where his team needed it most.
He's decided to take the responsibility for himself. The end that was so successful last over. Still a big ask. The question is now who's gonna deliver it. It looks like Shane Getgate. We'd also remember that 15 runs would get us a super over. 16 would get the Knights a win. A fantastic comeback win, you could almost say, if it was to be the case.
Yeah, it would be a real big bounce back win. We haven't seen a super over yet in this competition. How we'd love one here. If Neil Rock was just 15 runs for the being super. He's got a short boundary to deal with here. Shane Getgate, you'd assume the plan has to be to bowl wide here and try to get Neil Rock off strike.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen from the bowlers' figures there the variety between the 2 opening bowlers. One going for 13 and over, one going for 6 and over. But that's by the by now. Shane Getgate's the man with the ball in the hand. 6 balls to delivery. The form batsman on strike. It's all set up.
It's a full toss. And he hasn't gone for it down at long on. I think it's Graham Hume down there. You'd have to think potentially there was an opportunity to take a catch, but he hasn't gone forward. And just a single on the board to Neil Rock in the end.
Absolute opportunity for glory there for a Specky that would have just possibly taken the Warriors over the line. As it is, he's got Rock off strike. Happy to not concede the boundary. 15 required off 5 for the Knights win. 14 for the super over.
He got away with that one, Getgate. It's a wide ball, and they've been run out. There was a miscommunication there, and Neil Rock has been run out there. And I must confess, in that situation, surely Rossadair has to swallow his own pride and get the left-hander back on strike.
Rossadair has to sacrifice himself there. Once he heard Rock calling for the signal, surely he should have ran through. Surely he should have took the hit. You know, you've lost a guy now, 45 off 30 deliveries, played a fantastic innings for his side. Adair's put a lot of pressure on his shoulders now.
I think most importantly as well, it's the left-hander hitting to that shorter boundary. It just didn't make sense whatsoever. It was a good call from Rock, I think. It was a shorter ball. It was taking a while to get through to Stephen Donny behind the stumps. Wide was called, by the way. Wide was called. So there's still 5 deliveries left. There's still a chance for Rossadair to be the hero, but he's put an awful lot of pressure on his own shoulders there.
I can only think that in all the confusion between the wide delivery, that he just wasn't listening to his partner. He was ball watching. He was turned, he was looking at it going into the keeper's gloves.
Well, that's an excellent delivery from Shane Getgate there, just a single.
Have the Knights planned Gregerson coming in now, or is it the left hand option again? Keep someone for the short boundary?
Yeah, well, it's fascinating to see Luke Georgeson come in here at number 9. He opened the batting all weekend last week, now in at number 9. Probably not known necessarily for his power hitting. He's got 4 deliveries left. Remember, it is 4 deliveries. I know the graphics telling you 3 at the bottom of your screen. That ball was a wide from Shane Getgate. The run out. Georgeson smashes that down to long on. It's just going to be the one though, and you feel that mistake potentially, and not getting Neil Rock on strike, and Rock being run out for 45 could well have been the straw that breaks the camel's back for the Northern Knights.
Yeah, I think when he reflects on it, he'll rue that decision. The game's far from over. It's kept us on the edge of our seats for a while now, and anything can still happen, but Getgate certainly is putting in the over that the Warriors wanted.
Oh, it's a great shot from Rossadair. He's not giving up the ghost just yet. He's flipped that over. The short fine leg fielder. He finds 4. The Northern Knights are not out of this game just yet.
No, great bit of premeditation there from Rossadair. He was moving across the stumps early, got the slower ball, punished it away to the fine leg boundary for 4 runs.
And that leaves the situation 8 runs required. 2 deliveries remaining here. Unprecedented figures watching the live stream currently. Over 20,000 tuning in at the moment. 8 needed, 2 deliveries. Can Rossadair prove everyone wrong? We've all given out that he didn't sacrifice himself. I tell you, if he hits 4-4 and brings the Knights over the line, I'm sure all will be forgiven.
Absolutely. He placed a huge burden on himself. Let's see if he can deliver.
Oh, it's an inside edge from Rossadair. It's going to be another boundary. And it's another massive moment in this game. A Chinese cut. 4 required from 1 delivery. Rossadair lucky this time round, but another 4.
Great execution there from Getgate. Slightly unlucky, but the Knights will not worry. They'll take anything they can get their hands on. You felt that ball was a 2-4 or 6 ball. They got the 4. It's really taking it down to the wire here now, Andrew.
Yeah,
big delivery coming up for both sides.
4 required, 1 delivery left, 3 for a super over. Rossadair, Shane Getgate bowls. And he hasn't got it, and it looks like they're going to come short here. McBride gets the ball in, and the Northwest Warriors have yet again won a close encounter. They've won this game by 1 run in the end between the Warriors and the Northern Knights. Rossadair's absolutely distraught. He was again going for that scoop shot over fine leg, but Shane Getgate, he's held his nerve in the end, and the Warriors have just about come out on top.
And I have to say, I'll wipe a large bit of sweat from my brow. What a game! What an exciting finish! Typical of the game as a whole. It really seesawed back and to and fro from both teams various times. The Warriors coming out on top in a tight encounter, but it just shows you, Andrew, two teams at the top of their game. Learned a lot from last weekend, and they really took that into play today and produced an absolute spectacle of a game.
An incredible game of cricket we've just seen here at Bready. We were treated to one down in Sydney Parade last weekend between the Northwest Warriors and the Leinster Lightning when they got over the line by a wicket. They've gotten over the line by a run today. Just goes to show how quickly T20 cricket can change. The Knights looked all but gone. 56 required from 4 overs, but they got within just the 1 run. Very good to see between the two sides there. Good camaraderie. The Northwest Warriors, they'll feel like it was a win that was always going to come, and then suddenly, right at the end, got very, very nervy.
Yeah, it looked comfortable for large parts of the game, and credit to the Northern Knights and Neil Rock in particular for really dragging them back in, and what looked like a beaten docket at one stage. And it's just fantastic to see the quality on show. I'm sure the bowlers won't agree, but certainly from a batting point of view, some spectacular performances there in that innings. I think on the balance of it, Warriors just slightly more deserving winners. They seem to be in control for more of the game, but fantastic spectacle, as we said.
Yeah, superb, and I must say the pitch absolutely tremendous here in Bready, and credit to all the ground staff for getting this early game in. There was heaps of rain last night, and it was very unlikely when you looked at the forecast last night that we would get in this 11 o'clock game. We've got a full game in, an excellent game at that, with the Knights just failing by 1 run there. The Northwest Warriors with a superb effort. Great credit to all involved.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Great credit to the ground staff for getting the game played, but I think the wicket really lended the contest evenly between bat and ball. It kept the game flowing right up to the very end.
Indeed, and we can only keep our fingers crossed that the second game this afternoon between the Leinster Lightning and the Munster Reds is just as exciting between these two sides. But it's been a fantastic victory for the Northwest Warriors. They've come out on top by just the singular run, and we will be heading over now to Andrew Leonard, who's being joined by the player of the match.
Yeah, thank you guys. What a finish we've had. What a start to the weekend we've had. For the second time in the course of 6 or 7 days, we've had another thriller. A 1-run win for the home side, the Northwest Warriors. They've got over the line by the barest of margins, as that famous expression is being coined by Ian Smith there during the Cricket World Cup final. A thrilling start to the second weekend, and we had many options for the player of the match. A fine innings from Neil Rock. He so nearly got his side over the line, chasing down that total of 160. 45 for him. Good effort from Ross Adair with the bat with 20 as the wind nearly blows me over. Mark Adair 1 for 21 and 23 for him. And for the Northwest Warriors, Shane Getgate, a final round performance, 36 and 1 for 30 with the ball holding his nerve in the final over. But the player of the match, a unanimous choice from the 3 commentators. A sensational knock, 54 off 32 deliveries, 3 4s and 4 6s, one of them the biggest you'll ever see at any ground anywhere around the world. William McClintock, congratulations.
Cheers.
Mate, how well did you hit them? It wasn't easy out there.
No, it wasn't easy, but as Grass said before the game, like, we just had to give ourselves time on the wicket, and whatever's out there we had to adjust and just play my natural game in when I got in.
You came to the crease in deep trouble. It was 31 for 3. What was your approach from there?
Just, as I say, just take a few deliveries to start off with and get myself in, and after that it wasn't the best wickets, like, but it's alright, like, for the rain a few days.
You've been in great form in recent times, particularly for Donamana, 195 the other week, and you're showing it now in the interprovincial stage. Are you making a big surge for inclusion? If you just get the microphone a bit closer over towards you, are you making a big surge? Is it something you want to do in the future in your career? Get on and get the green of Ireland at senior level?
Yeah, well, just trying to keep it simple now. Just practicing twice a week, like it helps massively, and just want to keep playing and improving, and whatever happens from there.
William, how big an impact has Gary Wilson had coming across to become your head coach?
Yeah, massive. He puts in a lot of effort, like on grass wickets in this weather. Like we're training twice a week on grass wickets. It's obviously going to help, and obviously it's shown within the team.
Tell us as well, the team approach, it seems to be a very ruthless one. You're going all out attack right from the off. That's a lot of freedom you're being given by the head coach?
Yeah, well, it comes naturally. Like a lot of us, me and Nathan there, we're kind of attacking players, so Gary just tells us to play our own game, and that's what we do, like, and it's paying off.
You're known as a power hitter, sometimes through the leg side, but that's 6 today over the offside. Tell us about that shot.
Well, it was up there, so I just swung my arms out, really.
Throwing the kitchen sink in it. Finally, you're top of the table. 2 more games this weekend.
Yep.
Can you stay at the top of the table? 2 more wins?
Hopefully. Don't see why not. Like, hopefully the weather's a bit better, like, and track hardens up a bit. But I think we can win 2 more games. Yeah.
It's a good attitude to hear. That's William McClintock, the player of the match, a talented man. Keep your eyes on him. He's going to disappear off behind me, I'm sure. Get back to the camp there, William.
Cheers.
Fantastic stuff from McClintock, player of the match, and a very worthy one as well. What a start we've had to the weekend. Brilliant cricket, a 1-run win for the home side. The Northwest Warriors, they go top of the table. They're now 13 points clear at 4 o'clock. Join us in just over 90 minutes time for the Munster Reds against the Leinster Lightning. We're bringing you every ball come hail, rain or shine. Hopefully the sun gets out. It's cold, it's blustery, but the action's hot on the pitch. We'll see you in about 90 minutes time.